place where guests are required to put their money where their mouth is, where we double down on the discourse and conversation. That's the only currency accepted. Proudly presented by the Nefarious Media Network.
Welcome, one and all. It's that time again for the parlay. And like that lady said off the top, Ray, this is where conversation is currency. This is where dialogue can change things. This is where just talking, Ray, can make a difference. Because at the end of the day, that's all it is, Ray. We just having conversations, baby. I am the Godfather, Nate Milton. Welcome to the first edition of the Parlay under the Nefarious Media banner. Ray Williams. Later on this show, while we're talking with our guests, I want you to grab, I think you have access to the folder with all the new logos. I want you to grab a couple of those and bring them up while we're talking, man, because we want to show love to this good brother Charles that hit us off with the wonderful logo here for the Nefarious Media Network. It is our launch day. It's a big day in America, big day in the world, Martin Luther King Day, a day where we remember and show reverence to the message of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King and what he meant, not only to America, but to the entire world. Mm-hmm. It's also the inauguration, Ray, of, as we will call this man going forward forevermore, 45, 47, because that's the only way we can say that man's name with a little bit of joy, with a little bit of happiness in our heart, Ray Williams. But it is also the launch day for Nefarious Media, something we've been working on for a minute. As we said last night on the NWA podcast, Ray, somewhere between 3 months and 12 years is what the building process has been for Nefarious Media. But we are here now, and this is just day one. This is just the first step. So let me introduce my co-pilot here on this particular project. Y'all know this man. He is the super producer. This man got more hits than P. Diddy with none of the allegations. Zero. None of the allegations. Y'all give it up for my man, the super producer, the Caitlin Clarker production, a.k.a. Caitlin Dark, two-way Raymondo Williams. What's good, Ray?
Everything is everything is everything, Nate. Everything's going well.
He said the thing.
I'm doing all right. I'm glad it's always we always got to put the onus on that last part when you bring up Diddy without the allegations.
Yes,
that's the most important thing. But yeah, I'm excited.
The only allegations that we could put on this man Ray Williams is he is a huge fan of Cora Jade. That's all we can put on him. If you know, you know. Shout out to everybody that watched the NWA podcast last night.
Yeah, guilty as charged. But yeah, excited to be on you, be your first mate on this maiden voyage that we're setting sail on. And I know people are tired of hearing my voice, so let's go ahead and get to our lovely guests who have decided to join us today.
Yes, because as that lady said off the top of the program, this is where conversation is the only currency. So let's bring in our first guest. She is returning from the inaugural edition of the Parlay. She is an accomplished podcaster. She is an esteemed and acclaimed voice actress, and she is one of my very favorite people in the whole entire world. But y'all may know her as that lady from the top of this show that we just started watching. Y'all give it up for the incomparable Britney Monae. Britney, what's good, fam?
Hello. As good as you can be, I guess, on a day like this.
Whatever do you mean, Cap?
I mean, we talked about it last time I was here, so let's not even go down that road.
It's all your fault, Britney.
It's all my fault. Let's try to have a great time while we were here. Yeah, it was an honor to record the opening for the show. I love doing different little funky voices. I don't know how different it sounds from my normal voice, but it was fun. It was fun. It was fun getting to be a speakeasy lady.
There were a couple of takes that Britt sent me that like she sounded British, but not like Will Ospreay British, Ray. She sounded British. Like, you ever watch Leverage?
Yes.
With Aldous Hodge and what's the guy? Kane. Something Kane. Like the guy that plays Elliot, the tough guy.
Yeah.
Leverage is a great show, is what I'm saying. But the take that Britney did with the English affect reminded me of the British lady off of Leverage.
I feel I had an English accent one. Maybe it was more of my like we're sipping like green tea on the porch today. It was probably more of that explanation than like British, if that makes sense. More like we've now kind of been in America a little bit, so we're losing a little bit of that English accent. It was probably that.
So like the reverse Madonna.
Yes.
But somebody who is not British to my knowledge, and I was informed before the show, he has a quite interesting and unique heritage that we probably will not talk about on this episode, but it is my honor and my privilege to bring him to the stage, not only because he is one of my favorite people in the world to talk to. He was my co-host for TDT Talks, the Darkest Timeline program, something we did back on the Kings of Sport Network during the pandemic. And spoiler alert, it will return. We don't know when, but it will return. But I think even more than that, Ray, just when this man thought he was out of the podcast game because he hadn't stepped in front of a microphone since August 2024, he gets pulled right back into the fray, pulled right back into the family, pulled right back into Nefarious Media. Y'all give it up for the conscience, the good Reverend Dr. Steve Contavious Caldwell Willie. Steve, I missed you.
Steve, you're muted.
He might be emotionally muted because he's so overcome.
I am overcome. I didn't want to like laugh or cry during the beginning of the intro, so like let's mute this thing. Yeah, 5 months since I've been on the air, but as soon as you asked to, I know how long this has been in production and how long this has been talked about. So I put it on the calendar. I had the doctor appointments. I have the kids off today, and I put in 3:30. Everyone leave me alone. I wouldn't miss this for the world. Congrats, by the way.
Yes, thank you, Steve. We're glad that you are here, not only on this episode, but down the road with Nefarious, and especially TDT Talks, which you and I we'll figure it out around our schedules at some point this year, and we'll make a formal announcement. But yeah, as Britney mentioned, this is an interesting day for a lot of people. But one of the things that we kind of stumbled on yesterday, Ray, when we were recording episode 0 for the network, is kind of our mission statement. And it is the 3 T's is what we like to call it, Steve Willie. And we're not talking about Michael Jackson's nephews that had that group back in the 90s. We're talking about what we want to project from this network. First of all, we want to have thoughtful conversations, Steve. The second thing we want is to have truthful conversations, because that's something, especially in this podcast space, you're going to get a lot of people, especially over the next 4 years, they're going to try to sell you a lot of wolf tickets with what they say behind these microphones. And then the third thing, Steve, is we want to get turned up. Because, yes, there is serious work to be done, but if there's no joy to it, Steve, then what the hell are we doing it for, man?
Yeah, you have to have some love. You got to have some fun. You have to have community. That's I know we've talked about that, Nate, like off air, about we got to find that community, and that's why I'm so excited to be here. Is I need to reach out. Sometimes my local community isn't the safest place for my family and for those around me. So being able to do something like this and that's my goal for the year, is to expand out my community.
Nice. Absolutely. And I think that's a good place to start here this week, Steve. Because last night on the Kings of Sport podcast, excuse me, again, man, that emotion that you had, Steve, just transferred into me, and now we all emotional. We just a bunch of Carl Thomases up here, just so emotional. Somebody got that reference, Ray, and they enjoyed it. But Chris was on the program last night over at Post Wrestling, and Chris, much like Britt, you were kind of in the epicenter of yet another kind of American tragedy, American national disaster that we seem to have to cope with and deal with every year. So how are you holding up, my friend?
I'm doing fine. It's kind of really windy today, so I don't know if because the wind is kind of shaking my window. So if you guys hear some weird like vibrations going on, it's the wind. Yeah, I live more in Rancho Cucamonga, basically. So where Day Day lives. So it's like more windy over here than the actual fires, but I work in the San Gabriel Valley, which is closer to like the Eden Canyon fires and stuff like that. So the wind quality closer to work is not as great. One of our shift leads actually had to be like evacuated because he lives up more in the like closer to the mountains of that area. So that's kind of what so it is affecting like my community a bit, especially because he's one of my favorite shift leads. So yeah, it's tough seeing people's houses being burned down. And if anyone doesn't know too much about like the Altadena, Pasadena area, it's a more historically Black area. So there's a lot of like generational homes that have unfortunately been burned down. So it's a very sad and a weird place to be in. And Santa Ana winds are always crazy around this time, but with the fires and stuff, it obviously is worse. And there's like there was a warning out today, I think, from KTLA News that it's potential for it to be disastrous again sometime this week. So yeah, that's what's going on. Sad.
And we talked to Chris last night because Chris is in Pasadena, right, Ray?
I'm not sure. I think he's more like in LA, in the city, I think. But
Pasadena's not that far from LA, so they're all pretty close.
Because what Chris was telling us last night, Cap, was just like the random nature of a disaster like this, where fortunately he and his wife, like, they evacuated, but then when they got back, everything was fine. But 3 blocks down the road, like, their friends and their neighbors lost everything. And so it's like you never know in a situation like this, whether it's a fire, hurricane, earthquake, anything like that. And these are the times where people should come together. People should help out, their neighbors, even if you're in another state, man. Like, if you have the means to do so, we would recommend and appreciate y'all helping out our brothers and sisters in LA. But Steve, these are the times of our lives, I think, I hate that people have to keep being reminded of this stuff, Steve. Why don't people listen? Because you would think after the pandemic, man, that there would be more of a spirit of community. But that is not the case, Steve, Willie. So why you haven't talked in 5 months on these podcast streets, Steve. So I'm sure you have some thoughts about the current state of the world that we're living in, my friend. So what's your take on why is it in the moments where, and I'm speaking specifically about America and Americans, why in the moments where we should come together the most, that seems to be the time where everybody's at each other's throats?
Well, it's why we're doing this right now, right? Discourse. It's the discourse of us against them. I call it like the team sports of everything. This isn't, as where I live, Bears versus Packers. We're a country and we're supposed to be united. It's literally in the name. And it feels like we used to come together more often for these disasters. You'll even look back to the 80s, like the AIDS crisis and stuff. And granted, there are people that were not very helpful, like the government. But as a community, we would do more things. And now it feels like it depends where you live. Chris pointed out on social media, the government was lashing out at like the mayor of LA, where the fires weren't even happening. It was happening in different cities around who had their own mayors. And it's just, even in Florida with the hurricanes, there's some schadenfreude that people have. Haha, it's happening to Florida. Where it's just like, again, community, that's the word I'm going to keep coming back to. This stuff used to bring us together. And I think there are small things that we could do to keep it to the positive. Like, it doesn't even have to be much money, but when you see somebody's house burning down, Chris has done a great job, if you're friends with him on social media, putting some of his neighbors and friends out there. You just drop a few bucks if you're from another state. It feels like if it happens to your own neighborhood, people come together regardless.
Mhm.
But when it happens somewhere else, it's like the whole NIMBY, not in my backyard type thing. It doesn't really matter. Like Asheville in North Carolina,
Mhm.
it's out of the news cycle, and it's a disaster area there still too. But it's just discourse in media. It's got to stop. I don't care who the president is.
What about you, Ray? Like, what? Why do you feel like? And is it in part and parcel? Is it part and parcel with 45, 47? We're gonna get this over, Ray. I guarantee you. If we do nothing else with Nefarious Media, we're gonna get that over as a nickname for Trump. But do you feel like, just because I feel like, Steve, like there's been something in the air, historically speaking, in America, but I feel like over the last 8 years, the divisions, the team aspect, the tribalism has been exacerbated. What is your take on why people cannot seem to be a little bit more empathetic, Ray? Why people can't seem to help their neighbor, love their neighbor, versus we gotta start fights, we gotta point fingers, we gotta spread misinformation and disinformation.
Yeah, I think it always comes back to trying to figure out a way to feel like you're better than somebody, and it's just like you said, this stuff. It doesn't matter if you're on the right or on the left, if you're red or blue. Like, the wildfire isn't going to be like, oh well, this person is independent, let me go over here and burn this house up. Like, you would think that people would come together, but especially with the division zone, um, within like the last better part of 10 years, as we think about it, um, it just stinks. And you would think that people, as Steve mentioned, you would think just that word community, you would think that people would not only look at that as a physical thing, like within the people around me, but just as kind of like a sense of being, is where we could feel comfortable with one another no matter our backgrounds, and we could support one another. And I think you were kind of seeing that, because even though the national discourse was kind of as far as the hurricanes were concerned, the national discourse, when you were kind of dealing with then candidate Trump, um, he was kind of being divisive with that, and as far as like telling people don't take FEMA, but when the actual people on the ground, they were actually uniting. So I think you are kind of seeing that, like, you're only seeing, like, in the national media, like them propping up the disunity and the division. But I think, like, in the actual,
Hold on, Ray. Are you alleging on Al Gore's internet that there are people within the media that could gain an advantage from people being divided? Is that what you were telling me, Ray?
I know it sounds crazy, brother Nate.
Ludicrous.
Yeah, but
Preposterous even.
yeah, but even like, people would use this to their advantage, whether they believe it or not. Um, yeah, and it's just, but again, I think you are seeing that folks on the ground in these places are actually being united. I know there were some, I think there were some reports of, like, people in FEMA when they were on the ground. There were reports of people in FEMA being like turned away by people who were kind of by those who are affected, who are kind of buying in to 47's his rhetoric. But I think for the most part, I think people are kind of coming together in this moment, and hopefully the same can be said in California as well. But again, people in the media are kind of using this as a way to kind of drum up attention for themselves, and kind of like, I think, and I think even they're with the shooting in New Orleans not too long ago, where I think it was the I want to say the senator who kind of brushed off the black female FBI agent, and he was talking about something like, "Oh, we're gonna find whoever did this by any means necessary," or something like that, just saying some crazy stuff, but then brushed off the actual person who can help you. And then all of a sudden that became an issue where it's like, oh, this is DEI hire, not, but we're disregarding the actual people affected and how the FBI can help these people. Yeah, it sucks that the national discourse has come to this point, but I believe the people actually that are putting boots to grounds, that are doing the help, and those who are being served, I think they're being accepting no matter who's helping out. So hopefully that's more of
You
the
would hope.
case than that.
Yeah. So yeah, to make a long story short, again, as Steve said, Steve is our DEI hire, by the way. As Steve said, look how he's enhanced us, man. Diversity works, people. If you do have the means to help, man, give what you can, because that's at the end of the day, regardless, as Ray said, who's sitting in the White House, a lot of times we have to help ourselves out. And so that leads me to a thought exercise, Ray Williams. So for those that watched the first episode of the Parley, me, Ray, and Britney had a thought exercise. You might have caught it, Steve, where we went back in time.
Oh, yeah.
We went back to our favorite time periods in America. Ray was a backup Soul Train dancer, dancing with Rosie Perez in the 70s. Britney was hanging out with Marilyn Monroe and them. I was running moonshine, and then I also skipped forward in time and saved JFK. And it was a wonderful time for everybody. So I've got another thought experiment this week. The thought experiment is thinking about the theme of helping. A lot of us that are here, and a lot of y'all watching, man, a lot of y'all consume superhero media. Whether we're talking about the MCU, the DC universe, comics, TV, cartoons. I know Ray be watching them cartoons, man. You get one power. One power. That's all you get. One power. What power would you choose, and how would you use it to help people or help yourself? So let's go around the horn. Let's start with Steve, Aloysius Willie. Steve, if you could have any superpower, if you could be granted, if Kevin Feige came down from a cloud and was able to bless you with a superpower, what power would you want, my friend?
I'm going back and forth right now. When you initially said it, I'm like, man, unlimited energy, because I'm getting older. We're all getting older. I'm tired all the time. All the time.
Steve's like, that's my superpower, Cap. I'm always tired.
It's just like getting the star in Mario, like in Mario Kart. Only it never ends. It just never ends. My favorite superheroes growing up were Spider-Man and Flash, and the speed would be incredible to me because one, my metabolism would speed back up, so I wouldn't be gaining weight all the time. But to be able to do more. I'm serious about I lack energy a lot, and I know part of it is age. I think part of it's just life. But to be able to be like, oh, let's see, LA's burning. Let's go build these houses back up. to be able to be in a couple places at once. I could take one kid here, rush over to work, see somebody, come back home, exercise, maybe set a world record on the marathon, and then just eat a ridiculous amount of pizza.
That's a great answer, Steve. Yes, that is a great answer, and I'll go next because I almost picked flash speed. Because that's something I think could be very useful in a multitude of ways. You could help people faster. You could have that metabolism, have that energy that is hard to find sometimes, Steve. You could go back in time if you could figure out how to do that. Go forward into the future.
Get my treadmill.
Yes, get your treadmill out.
That still makes no sense to me. No matter if it's TV, if I've reading the comic books, that has never made any sense to me. I got a minor in physics. Like that little known fact, I got a minor in physics. That still makes no sense to me.
See, you don't understand, Steve. When Barry Allen gets on the Peloton and starts running, there's seismic shifts in the time-space continuum. I can't figure it out either, Steve.
Don't break your brain, Nate.
But here's the other thing. Anybody that knows me knows, like, I am often late. Not late, like not maliciously late, Steve, because we know there's a difference between maliciously late and what would be the opposite of malicious late?
Fashionably late.
Fashionably late. Yes, Ray Williams. I'm fashionably late. I'm affectionately late. Steve, like for instance, today's pulling the curtain back. I told you this is a truthful show. We were supposed to start at 4:00. I think we didn't start until like 4:15, in part because I didn't get here till 4:05. And that's not malicious towards Steve, Ray, and Britney. It's just, it takes me a little bit of time sometimes to get in the headspace. Like, and here's the thing I will tell you, Steve Willie. My job tried to have a conversation with me the other day because I was late like 3 days in a row. And like 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, 15 minutes there, 5 minutes late here, like 3 days in a row. They're like, what's going on with you? You're usually like either right on time or, a little bit late, once a week, but 3 days in a row. Like, what's going on, Nate? It's just like, I'm just like, like I can't be bothered to care, Steve. Like I should care as an employee, but in my mind, I feel like everything is transactional, and I just gave you 7 days straight at the job. So the least you
at
can
some
do,
point. You and I are going to need to have a talk. Not therapist to client, but friend to friend about this job.
Like I gave you 7 days straight at the job. The least you can do is be like, it's especially since I'm the closer. It's like, does it matter if I'm here early on time as long as I'm here late when we need to close? Like, come on. Mariano Rivera ain't coming out in the third inning, Ray Williams. It's not how closes work.
I was going to say Mario Rivera.
The other reason I would use my flash speed is to be on time. But here's the thing. It's not going to work, Steve. It's not going to work, Brittany. Because like the first couple of days I had flash speed, it would work, right? But then I would get to the point where my brain recalibrates. And it's like, okay, I need 3 seconds to get to work. I could stay on the video game a little bit longer. I could sleep in a little bit later. I could like exercise a little bit later. I could slow roll out of bed a little bit later. And now, even though I got super speed, I'm still like 2 seconds late to work with the flash speed. So I don't want that power anyway, Brittany. I don't want the flash power. I think the power that I would choose, Ray Williams, if I could choose anything, I would love the power to, it's like a weird mental power, like a weird Jean Grey kind of thing. Like the power to not only know what you're thinking, Ray, or what you're thinking, Britt, or what you're thinking, Steve, but the power to illuminate when other people aren't telling the truth. Like I'll be like fact check man. Like anywhere in the world where somebody's lying, I just pop up and just, that's not true, and show everybody the truth. Or if like if Ray's having a bad day, like what's going on with Ray? Like Ray don't want to talk. Ray in his feelings. I can go into Ray's mind. Like, and then here's the thing: it gets a little weird because Jean Grey and them, like all them telepaths, like there's a gray area, no pun intended, where it's like I want to feel. Okay, so that's it. I can't read Ray's mind, but I can feel Ray's emotions, or Steve's emotions, or Brittany's emotions.
That's that way, Jasper Collins' power.
Yes, because here's the thing: I don't want to know everything.
This
Ray's
is the Twilight world.
I don't. Shout out to that man Taylor Kitsch from Twilight. Wasn't Taylor Kitsch like the werewolf in Twilight?
No, that's Taylor Lautner.
Too many Taylors. But like I don't know. I don't want to know what Ray's thinking every hour of the day, like about Cora Jade for 23 out of 24 hours of the day. I just want to know is Ray having a good day or a bad day? How is Ray feeling? I need to not a telepath, Steve, an empath. That's what Deanna Troi from Star Trek: The Next Generation. That's what I want. Along with the truth telling and truth revealing powers. So it's a weird power set, and I can't really. It's not really logistically sound because like if I gotta keep going to Washington every week, Steve, tell people this man is lying on these streets, like I freaking fly miles just adding up. It's like I'm tired. I can't do this every day. So I'd be truth teller man / empath man. Brittany Monae, I know you've had thoughts about this. What is your superpower?
I feel like I go back and forth between like having Luke Cage's unpenetrable skin power, and then also like super strength too, because I feel like super strength, you can go and help other people in certain situations where super strength is needed. I can go like and help, with the house situation, or be able to carry someone who cannot move and need to be moved and do things like that. But then I don't know, also it sounds cool to be able to like punch through a car or having super strength where I can actually open up a Cybertruck and destroy it. Like, hey, I would love to be able to do that.
I think they do that on their own though.
Yes, they do. But because some people are stupid and will put their family in there and then be in a situation where the jaws of life cannot help them. So even though they're stupid, I would at least like to help their family. But also then it's like, again, like I said, having unbreakable skin where you can't get shot by a cop would be nice as a person of color in this world. So it's kind of just like, I don't know.
I mean, you can just have both. Just say I want the Luke Cage power set.
But that's multiple powers.
Is it, Brittany? It's like it's just him. Like that's who he is.
But I don't know, because then I would be like, maybe then I would have Captain Marvel power set, because then I can also shoot stuff out of my hands. I have super strength and pretty high like durability, and I can shoot stuff out of my hands. That's 3 powers.
Okay. I feel like now we need to like start a Marvel Rivals group with you, me, and Ray. and Steve. I don't know if Steve plays.
I gotta play that. I want to play that game so bad.
It's fun. Is
it easy to pick up?
It's kind of easy. Like I spent a lot of time on the training modules because I'm again like A, I don't have enough time to really devote to mastering the game, but B, like I'm not here for somebody's teenage child to cuss me out or say terrible Leia-ish words to me on the headset. It's like, nah, man, I didn't work a 10-hour shift to come home to this nonsense. But it's a fun game. Like, and they're adding new characters all the time.
Okay, I got a pro tip from you, even though I'm not really into video games anymore just because of time. So my son plays like Fortnite, 2K, the usual. And he and his friends have figured out you put the phone down, you put the FaceTime on, and then you shut everyone else off. So then you don't have to ever deal with another person besides your friends.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been really good for him, because I mean that was always my fear too, because I hear about that at work all the time, like people blowing up at you or you blowing up at other people.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean you could strategize better too if you're like playing like 2K or something like that. But yeah, they have a blast, and they're not talking to, I mean, the reverse of a kid cussing you out, some Terry Bollea type person making passes at you.
Yes, that is a thing that could happen as well online. But yeah, we definitely should. And this is probably going to fall under Ray's bag of stuff Ray will eventually get to. But Ray Williams is a amateur streamer on these streets. The good kind of amateur streamer. He's not showing feet pics on the timeline.
That's nasty.
You do what you need to do.
Hey, times are hard, Brittany Monae. What is this in this economy?
Hey, I'm lucky they haven't got that Feet Finder app or whatever it's called.
Feet Finder.
It's something like that, but like, There's certain limitations of what you can do, though, apparently. So I'm just like, then what's the point of doing a weird feet pick app if you can't do all the crazy stuff? But
the gatekeeping the feet
they
people
are.
app. That's wild. But yeah, we do need to have like some type of video game content on this network because like Steve, I'm not as tapped in as I used to be just due to time. But we were talking last night, Steve, after we finished recording the NWA. Like Andrew was like, "What do you do on your days off?" And it's like if I have 2 days off back to back, that's perfect because the first day is always just recovery, and it's a lot of sleeping in until like 10 and maybe getting something to eat and then just watching sports or playing video games all day. And that's like my one video game day is my off day. But yeah, we need to get that going at some point this year, Ray. Yeah. Marvel Rivals is great.
Yeah.
At least the training modes are. These you ain't seen these training modes, Ray. They got like a little computer, like Galactus's daughter comes out and talks to you and walks you through the training and shows you the powers and whatnot. I was Rocket Raccoon one day, and then I was Storm the next. You could be anybody on Marvel Rivals, right?
You'd be Squirrel Girl.
You can be Squirrel Girl. You could be Squirrel Girl. Like they got Black Panther up there. Fantastic Four just dropped. Lot going on with Marvel Rivals, Ray. We need to get up.
Wait, is Jessica Drew on there?
She is not on there.
Then that game hates me.
You just have to write to the people that make Marvel Rivals and demand. Well, here's the thing. They just launched like a month or so ago, Britney. They still like they ain't even got Sam in the game yet, but I'm sure Sam will be in the game the closer we get to the movie. I'm sure that'll be a promotional tie-in to get my money because they'll be like, hey, you're interested in this movie, aren't you? You want to pay $10 for this Sam Wilson skin that you could just wait 3 months for and get for free? And I'll be like, you know what? I will pay you $10 American for this Sam Wilson Captain America skin.
Shut up and take my money.
Shut up and take my money. And then I proceed to get beat up by. See, that's the other thing, man. I really don't want to play live with Sam because I don't want, I don't want people's first exposure in the video game, Steve, to Sam Wilson Captain America is just him getting beat up over and over again. I got to get good at the game first.
Is Howard the Duck in the game? You could just be Howard the Duck, and then it will.
Howard the Duck is in the game, I think.
No way.
I think Howard the Duck's in the game.
Before Jessica Drew?
Howard the Duck's in the game. Like, obviously, all the Fantastic Four, like your main Avengers, Cap, Tony, Thor's in the game, a couple different versions of Thor. Wolverine's in the game, a couple of versions of Wolverine, Deadpool. There's a lot of good players in that game. But Ray Williams, we're not talking about Marvel Rivals anymore. We're talking about Ray Williams, producer by day, superhero by night. What is your power, Ray Williams?
Well, I've kind of had, and it's kind of like a no contest for me. It's like a far and away the power that I would like to have, and I've actually kind of had a desire to have this power for a good 20-25 years. I don't know if people are familiar with the movie Carrie, where it's this young lady who's getting bullied in high school, but then she starts developing telekinesis. It's different from telepathy. Telekinesis, instead of reading people's minds, on the other hand, you can kind of bring like control objects with your mind. And so it's like if I wanted to get, like, if I needed to clean up and I wanted to get the broom, but I didn't want to walk upstairs, I could just telekinetically control the broom to come down the steps, and it just comes right directly to my hands. So that's not what I'm going to use it for, to help people.
Ray's at the site of whatever natural disaster. He's not doing any work. He's just telekinetically moving brooms and shovels to people. Here you go.
I'm just thinking of Hocus Pocus when they make the brooms come to them. Very Sanderson sister vibes.
So yeah, I would kind of use it. if I would fight crime, or probably if I see like a burglary or something, they're running with the money. I'm like, oh, all right, get the money. Oh, it's my money now. You try to shoot me, stop your bullets, like Neo. What you got now? And then
why is this superhero narrating his fight?
Oh, you trying to get away in the getaway vehicle? Oh, just turned off the engine, brother. You ain't going no. Just chill, lock the doors, click, click. Just wait for the popo to come. So I think I would help in that. And then I think we were mentioning earlier, if I wanted to help out with natural disasters, probably like just pile like all the debris on one side. Maybe I think someone told me, or I think I was looking on social media, and a lot of people were talking about, well, why don't we just use the water from the ocean to put out the fires? And then of course good brother Chris had to define it, or I think someone told me yeah, that's salt water, and it pretty much destroys everything. Once you put it down, it preserves like what's there, but it kills all the life in the area. So I was thinking about, well, I just put a bunch of salt water with my mind, but I'm like, nah, I can't do that. But
like, what have you done, Ray Williams? You'd be like the Hancock of this superhero universe. You were supposed to help us, Ray, and you.
My bad.
That'd be your catchphrase. Like, my bad.
My bad. And just scamper away. Drive away in my
in the Lexus.
Car. Yeah. But yeah, that's always a power that I've always wanted to have. I always thought was interesting and kind of different from like kind of the main things that you see in mainstream. If mainstream superhero movies or mainstream like fiction is involved, so I always thought that was interesting.
So Ray wants to be a telekinetic superhero that causes more property damage than he fixes.
I didn't say
Britney Monae wants to be Luke Cage, but not Luke Cage. She really wants to be Captain Marvel. And Steve Willie wants to be the Flash, the good Flash, the Grant Gustin Flash. We will accept no other Flashes. And I am Black Jean Grey. So there you have it. That's our Avengers. Our Avengers lineup, ladies and gentlemen. You're welcome.
Could I filter the salt out of the ocean water with my super speed to enable Ray to then use the water? And this is why Avengers assemble.
Yes.
I mean, technically, but Brittany's the scientist here. Like, if he heats up the water enough by running, wouldn't that like boil out the salt?
Like evaporate the salt?
I'm not that scientific. I don't know. Because I don't know what happens to the salt when you put it in the water for your pasta. Like, is it now salt water? I don't know.
Like it evaporates though, like it boils out, right?
You would think.
I don't know. I'm not that like science.
So we're much less Avengers and much more Mystery Men. I see.
Yes.
We're just stumbling our way through this crisis. But yeah, Mystery Men, that's a good movie.
If I had to be one of them, I would be Invisible Boy.
Invisible Boy?
Yeah.
Here's the thing, Ray Williams. I'm going to tell you something. Mystery Men might have the greatest movie soundtrack I've ever heard in my lifetime, and it's not available anywhere. Like, you got to, like, there's YouTube clips of the songs, but you can't find it on Spotify or Apple Music. Like, the random collection of songs, like, you've got All Star by Smash Mouth. You've got like some weird Michael Franti song that's really cool. You've got Kel Mitchell, the titular Invisible Boy, who actually has a decent rap on the record with the Mystery Men theme. And then there's like just a lot of indie music from that time period, Steve Willie, like Mystery Men low key, a great soundtrack.
I'm looking this up now. I'm finding it.
Wait, Mystery Men?
You've seen Mystery Men, though, haven't you, Steve?
Shame.
Ray Williams is ready to jump on somebody for not seeing a movie, Ray. Let's be professional here.
I've seen Mystery Men a while ago. Yeah, a while ago. I think I have it on DVD too. Yeah.
I love how the one guy's like, I got cursed because I tried to blame my fart on an old lady, and she said that those who smelt it dealt it, and that's how he got his fart power.
And that was Pee Wee Herman that played that character.
Rest in peace.
I like the I can't remember the character's name, but the dude that was always talking in riddles, he was funny.
Was that Hank? Because that's not Hank Azaria.
No, Hank Azaria was the Blue Raja. He threw like the forks and knives.
Like cutlery,
okay, yeah.
William H. Macy was like the shoveler who was married to was Jennifer Lewis his wife in that movie?
I think so. He was married to a black lady, yeah.
Which is wild. Not interracial relationships, but that Jennifer Lewis and William H. Macy were paired as a couple on screen. That's wild.
Right.
Who else did you have? You had Kel Mitchell as the Invisible Boy. Greg Kinnear was in the movie for like 2 seconds.
Janine Garofalo.
Janine Garofalo was the bowler.
Yeah. Stolen the ball.
Yes, yes. And then my man Ben Stiller was Mr. Furious.
I love Ben Stiller. One of my favorites.
And then, but no, the guy I was thinking about was the guy that was like the Sphinx or whatever. And he's like, if you do not control if you do not master your anger will become the master of you. And
was he like Native American or something?
I'm not sure, but I know he was like trying to be like this mysterious figure.
Yeah.
That was a fun movie.
Rules. Jeez.
Yeah, I told you, Steve. The Mystery Men soundtrack, underrated.
Oh, I got Violent Femmes and Citizen King. Citizen King was like a band out of Milwaukee that had like one song that kind of broke through radio. But yeah, like in college, I saw them all the time.
Okay, yeah, I think is it Gangsters, the Citizen King song? That's a great song. Yeah, like Mystery Men soundtrack. It's very much of a time. It's as you could tell by the actors we listed, like it's very much of a time.
Yeah.
Jill Sobule, I think she did I Kissed a Girl.
Yes. Yep. Before Katy Perry. I'm trying to think who else was in that. So the crazy thing to me was you had like the villain scene, right? Ray Williams, where all the villains are assembled at Casanova Frankenstein. That's the main villain's name. They're assembled at Casanova Frankenstein's castle, and he's like shouting out all the various crews that are here. Like there's all these themed crews, and he's got the not so goody mob, which is just the goody mob dressed up like villains, and CeeLo's there. And then he's got the Disco Boys, Tony P and Tony C.
Disco Boys.
Tony P is Proswell from the Fugees, and Tony C was some comedian that I cannot remember. Eddie Izzard, maybe? It's like Tony P and Tony C, the Disco Boys. Because the disco was their gimmick, Ray Williams. Mystery Men's a great, and again, Greg Kinnear. This is during the season where people thought Greg Kinnear was going to be a big star, and he wasn't. He's like the Taylor Kitsch of his day. So,
and not Taylor Lautner.
Not Taylor Lautner, not Taylor Swift. Yeah, Mystery Men. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's got to be playing somewhere.
I used my newly found Flash powers to find you the soundtrack. You can get it on CD on Discogs.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
but physical media is important.
What physical media? Yes, physical media is important.
Yes.
So let's talk about that real quick, because one of the things that I love the most that is getting harder and harder to find, Steve Willie, is a good director's commentary for a movie. Because one of my favorite things to do after I watch the movie, this is in the DVD era, is like for instance, Tropical Thunder to me has the best director's commentary ever. In part because Robert Downey Jr. carries the bit from the film through the entirety of the director's commentary. Because there's a line in the film where he's like, "I don't break character until the DVD commentary is done, son," and he's staying in that character through the entire DVD commentary, and it's amazing. But I was watching Deadpool and Wolverine, or as Britney Monae calls it, Daredevil and Wolverine. Wow. Look at that. See, That's a joke for me and Brittany and for nobody else, but it made me chuckle. But I was watching Deadpool and Wolverine after Brittany and Brent and I did the last episode of the Avengers Initiative. And so I watched it again on Disney Plus, and then I'm like, wait a minute, extras. There's a Ryan Reynolds commentary with the director who I can't remember his name now.
Sean Levy.
So Sean and Ryan Reynolds are doing
the Night at the Museum movies.
Okay, those were fun.
Mm-hmm.
Those were cute films.
And Free Guy, which I actually liked Free Guy.
Free Guy's not bad. Free Guy's not bad. But yeah, there's the director's commentary for Deadpool and Wolverine, and it's amazing. And I wish more directors and more stars like took time to do this. I understand why they don't, because everybody's busy and you ain't getting any extra money for these damn commentaries.
And then people don't invest as much in physical media, so they're like, well, that was a DVD feature. How many people are buying DVDs now? I mean, I do. Anytime I go to Barnes and Nobles, I look in to see what stuff that they have that I can add to my collection, because they always got stuff on sale now. So
Deadpool and Wolverine, great director's commentary. It's available on Disney Plus for now until they decide to get rid of it. But another great director's commentary for a not so great movie, Steve, Soul Plane. The Soul Plane director's commentary is amazing because it's just Kevin Hart and Malcolm. I think it's Malcolm Lee that directed Soul Plane, maybe. It's F. Gary Gray. It's F. Gary Gray, Kevin Hart, and I believe Godfrey, the comedian. Okay. And they're just talking about this terrible movie that would not fly today, no pun intended, and it's wonderful. Soul Plane. Don't rush out to see that movie, but Mystery Men, yes.
Like I said, I got. Speaking of physical media, yeah, I do have.
What you got, Ray?
I have the Mystery Men DVD, so
nice.
I got to check it out.
That's a fun movie, man. It's a fun movie. So let's, because we got to feed some ducks, Ray, eventually. But before we get to feeding the ducks, again, today is a day that will probably stir up a lot of emotions in people, Steve. Some good, some bad, some indifferent. I'm going to steal a page from our TDT Talk playbook, Steve, and we can go around the horn before we get to feeding ducks on the pond and ask, hey, what made you happy today? What made you happy this week? Steve Willie, what made you happy today or this week, my friend?
Oh, man, what did I even do this weekend? What made me happy today? I've got a... Man, let's see. This weekend, watching. I don't watch football that much anymore. I mean, I have it on in the background, but I don't like sit and intently watch it that much anymore. And my wife and I yesterday watched pretty much both games from start to finish together, and it was pretty fun. Even my son joined for a little bit, and kids don't do that anymore. If I can brag, this wasn't this week, but my daughter got accepted into college, and that is pretty cool, and she can't wait to get out of here and me
too. Understandable. And which school?
She's going to Marquette University.
Oh, nice.
Where my wife and I actually went and met, but we did not even remotely try to push her there. It was just dumb luck that it happened. She didn't really care for a lot of the other places she went to, and went on campus, and they basically catered to her every need, which is very much what she likes.
Nice. What is Marquette's mascot, Steve?
The Golden Eagles.
They
were the Warriors. Some people can't get past that. Even though it's been 30 years. Talk about old heads, can't get past it.
Nice. Was it D Wade that went to Marquette?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Wade, nice. Jimmy Butler also.
Jimmy Butler, yeah.
Emo Wentz.
Yes, emo Jimmy on these streets.
That was one of the greatest pictures I've ever seen.
Yes, that'll be his lasting image as he leaves Miami.
the Fall Out Boy music video for "So Much for Stardust."
Yes, that was, and now Jimmy Butler might end up being Britney's favorite NBA player, not only because he was in the Fall Out Boy video, but he recently opened up his own coffee shop now in Miami.
He's
he's a
very high-end coffee beans.
Yes.
And it started in the pandemic when they were in the bubble.
Yeah.
He brought this is such a great story. He brought with his own espresso maker, like super high end, and he would create drinks. He had a whiteboard outside his hotel room. Every drink was $20 flat cash. Didn't matter what it was. And he was just pulling in money left and right because they couldn't get decent coffee in the bubble at Disney. So, and then from there is when he started branching out. I looked at actually getting some for my wife for Christmas, and it's something like $80 a bag or something like that. But like, there's that Marquette education right there.
Are they whole bean or pre-ground?
Whole bean.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jimmy Butler and whoever he ends up playing for next week. Ray Williams, what made you happy this week or today? And no, you cannot say your Washington Commanders go.
Oh, see, don't do that. Don't steal my joy. So of course, it would not be good to not mention the start of Nefarious Media, the launch. Just that's making me happy and excited and giving me some life and some motivation. Being able to speak with John Pollock today on the upcoming episode of the Styles Break Fights podcast with myself and Chief.
Hold on, wait a minute. Time out, Ray. Time out, Ray. You know, this is the Truth-Based Network. Did my dear friend Britney Monae just whisper into the microphone? Who's that?
Yes.
And I love you for that, because me, Ray, and Steve, we obviously know who this man, the great John Pollock, is. But Ray, let Britney know who our good friend Joe Poe is.
All right. Well, John Pollock, I'm sure you've heard Nate mention quite a bit post wrestling. It's a professional wrestling, MMA, combat sports news network. And John Pollock, the P for post, is offset by Wei Ting, T for post. And they both are the co-founders and co-proprietors of Post Wrestling. So they do podcasts based on wrestling and based on wrestling shows, WWE, TNA, AEW, things like that. And they started a while back. I think they started even prior to coming up with their own thing with Fight Network in Canada. So I was more than excited to have the esteemed pleasure of welcoming him on the show and talking with him, just picking his brain on a couple things. So and then but yeah, you won't steal my joy, devil. The Commanders, we about to go to the Super Bowl, baby. How about that, Dallas?
You still got one more win, Ray. You still got to win one more game, Ray.
I know. I think just getting to the playoffs after being 4-13 last year, it was like that was the icing on the cake. But if we could keep this train going, and against our rivals in the NFC East, the Philadelphia Eagles, if we could put the hurt on Jalen Hurts, I think we could make a run. And then we'll see what happens between the perennial favorites in the AFC, the Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills. It's like they're always meeting sometime in January and February to decide who's going to represent the AFC. And I'm pretty sure Brittany's looking at me like I got 8 heads. But yeah.
No, I was just thinking, isn't Buffalo Bill a killer or something?
No, not the Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs. No.
Okay, I was like, why is the team named after that guy?
Not even Buffalo Bill Cody, just coming right to.
It's like a funny story from like when I was a kid, Ray. It was the year when the Bulls met the Lakers in the NBA Finals. And this is when we were living out in California. And my dad and I, like, he printed some bracket out of Sports Illustrated or the newspaper or something, and we filled it out with our predictions. And one of the early round matchups was the Magic versus the Heat or the Hawks or something. And it was like Hawks versus Magic. And my mom, God bless her, one of the smartest people I know. But again, people are smart in different categories, Steve Willie. She looks at my bracket that I filled out, and she's like, that doesn't seem fair. And I'm like, huh? She's like, why are they putting one person against the team? I said, huh? She said, the Hawks, they're playing Magic. Like, why? Like, why would they do that to Magic Johnson? I'm like, I'm trying to figure out how to respectfully educate my mother on this subject, Steve Willie. And I just think, again, because I think I was like a teenager at the time, I just gave her the typical teenager response of, you don't get it, Mom. and walked away. Because my mother thought that Magic Johnson was going 1-on-5 in the NBA playoffs, which is wild.
And why is he living in Orlando?
Yes. Like, none of that makes sense, Mom. But I love you anyway. Ray Williams, go back to your predictable Washington Commanders glad handing and glazing, if you will.
Don't do that. You know how long I've been waiting.
Ray is like, we have not had anything to be happy about my entire adult life. Let me have this.
It's like I think somebody mentioned it. I think between the last time, or it was the first year after we won our last Super Bowl, 1992, and last season, 2023, we've had the fourth worst win percentage between all teams. It was like, man, you ain't gonna steal my joy. I'm gonna shout it to the rooftops. So I'm glad, and Jaden Daniels is looking phenomenal. And I think there was this video. I think I was going down on X/Twitter, and there was this video. This guy, he was a Detroit fan, and he was watching the game. I guess he was streaming, and just to see like the dejection on his face, it didn't fill me with joy. It filled me with empathy, because I'm like, brother, I've been there far too many times. I'm sorry. I'm sorry we had to do that to you, brother. Just having hope and where no hope can be found. But we're looking good. And again, regardless of what happens next weekend, I'm just really proud. And like, and I mentioned this on NWA, is like I kind of fell out of the fandom for a long while, especially after what happened with and this wasn't just fandom with Washington, but fandom with NFL and with football as a whole, all the stuff that happened with Colin Kaepernick. And so I was just like out of the loop for a while, and then I think kind of working on the Kings of Sport kind of helped me trickle me back into NFL and keeping a more watchful eye on the NFL. And then of course that narcotic came calling back little by, just take a little bit, brother. You're gonna be okay. You're a functioning Commanders fan. And then all the stuff that happened with Dan Snyder, and then him kind of getting unceremoniously booted, even though he I guess I guess somebody getting paid $6 billion to leave isn't
somebody unceremoniously boot me out the door like that.
Yeah.
Right. Just give me $6 billion to go away. I'll take it. And then them changing the name and everything, so that kind of helped justify me liking the team again, and little by little, and then just this season is just this was supposed to be a rebuilding season, and it's just amazing to see it, especially like we had the number 2 pick, and we were for sure thinking that we could bump up to at least get hometown boy Caleb Williams. But alas, that was not the case. He ended up going to Chicago, but maybe that was for the better because things aren't working out really well for him up there. And Jaden Daniels is just taking like a fish to water to the game, to the pro game, and it's good to see, man. Scary Terry McLaurin is just having a tremendous season himself. It's great to see the team kind of in their winning ways. We'll see how long it lasts. We'll see how long Cinderella can keep the glass slippers on before that coach turns into a pumpkin. But until then, I'm on for the ride.
Britney Monae, let's bring Britney back in before we lose her, Ray. Britney's like, I don't know who any of these people are.
The smoke has subsided.
Britney Monae, what made you happy today? What made you happy this week, my friend?
I'm trying to think. I guess getting to podcast again with Keith, because I haven't podcast with him in a long time with my work schedule. I did podcast with a lot of people like I wanted to last year, but Keith was really long time. So getting to do that on Friday, we recorded talking about Batman and Robin, which Keith knows I'm like probably one of the only defenders of that movie. But in my defense, I was freshly like 7 or 8 years old when that movie came out, and a movie with 2 women being badasses. Obviously, one's a villain, one's a hero, but like, that movie really is like one of my favorite movies. So getting to talk about that with Keith was really fun. And then yesterday we went out to Morton's Steakhouse for my sister-in-law's birthday. So that was super cool and very expensive, but good. And yeah.
Okay. Britney Monae, I'm happy for you, despite you bringing up that man's name on this podcast. This man, Keith. Keith, you know what you did, Keith. I mean, I'm no Kendrick Lamar, but anytime you're ready to squabble up on these microphones, Keith, we can squabble up.
Wow.
Turn your TV off, Keith.
Yeah, he did tell me what movie he wants to discuss with you, but it's like gonna be a while out for it. But yeah,
of course it is. Of course it is, Keith.
Yes. Can you guess what DC movie it is that he wants to talk to you about?
It's probably Black Adam.
Yep.
That's my guess.
I knew it.
Yep. Yeah, he was like, I gotta have Keith on that episode.
We'll see if it happens, Keith. We'll see if it happens. Right now, Dom is my favorite member of the Nerds of Color, Keith. That's all I'm saying, man. Hope you had a happy New Year, brother. We'll talk soon. Maybe. No, Keith's good people, but
yeah,
I do feel some type of way every time I was on the show. Keith was never on the show. That's all I'm saying, Steve. That's all I'm saying. What made me happy this week? What made me happy today? Obviously, much like Ray, Nefarious. The launch has made me happy. It feels like, Ray, I've never been a father, not that I know of. Given the course of my life, I probably won't be a father. I'll never say never, because Larry King was out here on these streets having babies when he was like 69, 70 years old. Right, Steve?
Mm-hmm.
So never say never. But I don't have any children of my own at the current moment that I know of again. But I think like outside of my nieces and the kids that work in the TV program that I've been at the school system here in Newport News for like the last 15, 20 years, like outside of those people, the closest thing I've had in life that maybe can equivocate the experience of giving birth is these podcasts. And this was a big one, Steve Willie.
Yeah.
With Nefarious, a lot of time and effort. Again, like I said at the top, yes, chronologically, it's probably only been 3 months since we've decided to do this, but this is something that's been in the DNA of the Kings of Sport since day one. Like, we wanted to collaborate, we wanted to branch out, we wanted to do more than just be a sports show, and so that's part and parcel of Nefarious and what we hope to bring going forward. So it's like this weird mixture of excitement, a little bit of anticipation, and a little bit of apprehension. But mainly today, Steve, it's just relief. Like, it's done. It's out there. It's out there to the world. We got the new theme music that y'all heard on episode 0, produced by my guy Troy, aka Sinatra Royale. We had our man Charles, Lost in the Ink, is where you can find him on Instagram. That did the logo. Ray, you got a chance to bring up that logo, Ray Williams? Lost in the Ink, my guy Charles produced the logo. He's also working on the logo for Styles Break Fights. But he's great, a great artist, an independent artist, and has great rates, and he's got timely. So there you see some of the logo designs right there for Nefarious. I didn't even think of this until he told me, Steve, but he was like, see, in my mind, and this is not a good Charles impression. He's like, see, when you look at the logo, go back to the previous logo, Ray. Like, when you look at the logo, it forms a crown, the N and the M. So you got Nefarious Means Networks, the NNM. It forms the crown, showing homage and showing the history and the lineage from the Kings of Sport. And it's also your initials. And I'm like, he's right about all of that. I told him, like, what I like about the design is it's simple, but it's memorable, and it's complex without being complicated or cluttered. Like, and it's a good way to kind of start off this new era of the podcast. And so, that was the big thing, along with talking to y'all, that made me happy. And then the other thing that made me happy is, I was telling Britney about this the other day. We can go back to the one shot, Ray. So, Britney and I be out here telling each other what we be getting on Amazon sometimes, Steve, Willie. That's what friends do. We have conversations. And after, like, I had to get checked out the other day because I was dehydrated, I've started, obviously drinking more water. I always drink water, but I'm drinking even more water now. Drinking more juice, less soda. But I got a humidifier the other day. And Steve, it's not just a humidifier, it's a diffuser. And I like this so much, Steve. So originally, I got this one. This is the original one.
Okay.
And I was like, hey, real quick, Homedics, $16 right now, available on Amazon. Normally they're like $35 a piece, $16.99, 2-day shipping. Go to Amazon. We need to get some sponsors this year, Ray.
Indeed.
So I got that one, but then you know me. I was like, man, I wanted to get more, but I'm like, I just can't have all these random ass white humidifiers in my room. Come on, they got the one ready for February. Got the black humidifier, and like, okay, so the mist ain't really working because I probably need to put some water in it. Ray and Steve bowled out all the water on that one, but there you can see the mist on this one. It's peaceful, Ray. It's peaceful, Steve, and it's like I had just regular water in it at first because I wanted to use it as a humidifier, but then I'm like, I wonder if I drop some of this oil, and I got some like vanilla, lavender, coconut oil, Steve, and it's very soothing. Even right now as I'm talking, Steve, I'm ready to take a nap, man. It's just soothing. The mist that is emanated from these. So I got this one. Like, you can see, it's already got some cracks in it because I dropped it on the floor. But this one, this is the new hotness right here, Steve Willie. That's the new hotness right there. So I'm all in on my diffusers and my humidifiers, Steve, because one of the things we talked about last night on the NWA podcast is one of the benefits of Nefarious is that this is not a David Ruffin and the Temptations situation with me and everybody here. This is a situation where Ray and Chinyere can have a great show and interview John Pollock, and I didn't have to do anything on that show, Steve.
I like it.
Or Britney can do a show with Jennifer Smith, and I don't have to be there, even though I will be there, because why would I not be there when Britney and Jennifer are talking? Because those two are ridiculous human beings who I love. But the idea is like, this is more of a group effort than the Kings of Sport, which was a group effort, but it was more like if I'm not there, then the kings of sport aren't there. And I hate to say it that way, but that's kind of what it is. Whereas with Nefarious, I don't have to be there for this thing to work and for us to have a good time, and for us to have good shows and good content, and for us to win in whatever form winning takes for us, Ray. So I can actually take some time to take care of myself. Ray Williams.
And that's the most important thing. It's the most important thing, Brother Nate.
It's the second most important thing, Ray. It's the second most important thing. You know what the most important thing is, Ray?
Maybe feeding these ducks.
Feeding these damn ducks on the pond, Ray Williams. So yes, this is time for it. So it's the 3-leg parlay, but now we have 4 people today, so it's a 4-leg parlay. Some days we'll have 2 people and it'll be a 2-leg parlay. Maybe we'll have a 5-leg parlay. But this is the part of the episode where each of us brings a topic or a question to the table. Could be serious, could be silly, could be funny, could be thought-provoking, could be heartwarming. Steve, Willie, and we're gonna go around the room and everybody has to answer the question. I think I'm going to go with Ray Williams. Ray Williams, what question have you brought to the table for this edition of the parlay?
Yeah, I like periodically remind myself, oh, you need a question. Oh, 2 hours later, oh, you need a question. 2 hours later, oh, you still need a question. And then I get to the point, I still ain't got no question. But I guess we already talked about superheroes and all that good stuff, so I can't bring it.
You can turn down the ducks a little bit, Ray. They're a little too loud this week. Just a touch. This song is called Feeding Ducks on the Pond, Steve Willie.
So I think one question that comes to mind, I know that there was one thing where we were talking about, like, I'm big into sports. Nate, you're big into sports. Brittany, not so much. Steve, you're into sports. But if there is a hobby that you're absolutely obsessed with, and I know you mentioned music as well, like one particular hobby, one particular aspect of the hobby, what is one thing from your hobby that you want to share with everybody that you want them to know about? What's one thing that we got to take from your hobby, maybe like as an introductory for somebody who may not be initially interested in your hobby? What's one thing that you would like for them to know about, so that maybe get them in the door?
Okay, Britney Monae, what is your hobby and why is it socks?
That is actually not a lie. I love buying socks, and I had to stop myself when I was at Target from buying socks because but no, I don't know, I feel like I'm not doing my hobbies as much as I used to, besides reading right now, because I used to like to write a lot, and I feel like I just have been lacking on writing. But yeah, for reading, I don't know, I'm reading books all over the place. Like, I'm currently trying to still finish Midnight Sun, which is a Twilight book in Edward's point of view. I'm also reading a book where it is the first 3 Anne Rice Vampire Chronicles. So I'm in the middle of Interview with the Vampire. And I'm also reading a Star Wars book called Brotherhood. So I guess, I don't know, have fun with your reading choices and be all over the place, because I got vampires, Star Wars, and I did finish, which I have this book right here actually, I did finish Fear Street, The Wrong Number, which is a great book. So yeah, I don't know, reading is fun. Just dive in and read whatever you want. I don't know, read smut, read, I don't know, about pirates. I just read, it's fun. I like it. I don't know. I guess that's all I got right now.
You can also read about pirate smut. You can collaborate on your reading choices. Shiver me timber, Steve Willie. What is your hobby, my friend?
I was gonna go with reading comic books as well, specifically. But man, like, reading is something I need to work on. I had quite a good stretch during the pandemic, but I struggled last year. I started like 4 or 5 books and stopped. And the thing I like about reading and reading comics, especially with reading comic books, it's short and quick if you just read one, so you feel like you've accomplished something, even if it's just 15 minutes. But the thing I like about it, the hobby now, which I don't think many people know. I think more people know now than they did before. Like when I was a kid, it was boys. It was boys only. You were a nerd. You were a loser if you read comic books. I was lucky enough to grow up like right next to one of what used to be the biggest comic chains in the Midwest. So I could walk like an eighth of a mile and I was there. But I remember a few years ago going into my friend's comic book shop and just seeing how like multicultural, how diverse, just everything, and how open that community is now. And there's books for everybody. It doesn't matter if you're 4 years old. It doesn't matter if you're one of the 7-year-olds who's been reading for 50 years. And by God, if there's something wrong with the continuity, you're going to hear about it. But it's really opened. It's really opened up my mind to quite a bit. It helps me delve into genres I might not actually read full books on. Like outside of like, your Star Wars, I'm not into like, big space alien epic soap opera epics. But I do read Saga every single month. I wouldn't read a book of Saga. Like I wouldn't read a 500-page book about it, but I can read the 20-page comic book. But yeah, I think it's just, again, going back to the community now aspect of it, kind of going full circle with the conversation. The community, if you ever go to like, I'm going to C2E2 for a couple of years. And when I was a kid, if you went to a comic convention, there was just a bunch of smelly little boys. It was the Simpsons, man. And now it's every single walk of life, and it's cosplayers and people exploring different genders. My God, they only had bathrooms for one gender, and that's it. It was for everybody. And you know what? Nothing bad happened. It was incredible.
Steve, now you're getting too fantastical. Steve, you're telling me they had a bathroom for everybody and Nancy Mace didn't show up and cause a scene?
They only had bathrooms for everybody.
Wow.
All the men and women, because there's so many people there, all the men and women, they had just stalls all the way across the board, and nobody died.
It can be done.
Yeah. Well, what's one comic book or what's one maybe convention that you would recommend to somebody?
One of my favorites, and I just got some of you know my dad passed away like last year. So I've lost both my parents now. So I got a little bit of money, which I don't care about too much. But I went back and bought one of my favorite comic books ever. It still stands up. It's right behind me. New Teen Titans. George Perez, the guy who did the art, just passed away last year as well. So I've gone back and bought like some of the combination of them. It started in 1980, but man, that thing still holds up. It's like you got your Robin, you got Kid Flash, who eventually became who's Wally West. Robin eventually becoming Nightwing. It's just a great book. Just like family dynamics of. I didn't even mean to bring this up, going back to the found community, but it is found community. A bunch of completely different superheroes, all teen heroes getting together, tackling social issues in like 1981, which was something you saw more in the 70s, but in the 80s under the Reagan years, you really didn't see that much. But it's a really good comic. You can get them at the library too. It's great fun. I have a couple of clients to watch the HBO show, which pretty much has the same team. But it's a book that I could, you can read one issue. It takes like 20 minutes because it's so wordy.
I like that, Steve Willie. Hobbies. I don't know what this witchcraft is that you speak of, Ray Williams.
I know with your 80-hour work weeks, you can't fit in time for much else. But
I barely have time to eat dinner, Ray Williams. I go walk to work 2 miles uphill in the snow both ways, Ray Williams. You don't know my struggle, brother. But no, I think the closest thing I have to a hobby, Ray, which is not include, I'm not including the work or the podcast or anything like that. The closest thing I have to something that is just like my thing, it would be twofold. One would be the video games when I do have a chance to just kind of chill and play video games. And there's some things, Steve, in these games now that take it to another level. You know, you mentioned your kid playing 2K. Steve, I play 2K as well. And there's a mode in 2K called My 2K Eras. And for anybody that doesn't know what this entails, I'm looking at you, Britney Monae. My 2K Eras basically means you can go to any era in NBA history and start a franchise. Like you can start a franchise in the Bird Magic years. You can start a franchise in the Jordan years, in the Shaq and Kobe years, in the LeBron years, in the modern day. And it's just fun to go and pick these random ass franchises, Steve. Like I've got a franchise right now with the San Diego Clippers. I never let them leave to go to LA. So I'm like, no, LA does not need two teams where one is the little brother and will never be as good as the big brother. I'm looking at you, Los Angeles Chargers. Should have stayed your ass in San Diego. But I've got a LA Charger. And here's the thing, Steve, the way my mind works, like I can't divorce reality from this fiction of the game. So in my mind, what happened to the San Diego Clippers? And this gives you a little insight into the way my brain works, Steve. I've set it up so we were going to move because when you pick that era, the very next year, the Clippers are slated to move to LA. And so I'm the San Diego Clippers. In my mind, I'm imagining me and Donald Sterling. If y'all know anything about Donald Sterling, you know he didn't like people that look like me. Me and Donald Sterling had this big fight, Steve, in the office. And everybody's like, what's going to happen to the fate of the Clippers? And I was like, you know what, Donald Sterling, I don't need this. I'm leaving. I just got a job offer from the Minnesota Timberwolves, and I'm getting ready to leave and go to the Minnesota Timberwolves. I don't even think they were the Timberwolves at the time. They may have been like the Kansas City Royals, Steve. Like I'm going to Kansas City by way of Minnesota. And then what happens is somebody steps in and they're like, hey, Donald Sterling, you got to go. And they kick Donald Sterling out, and I stay as the owner of the San Diego Clippers. And we stay in San Diego, Steve, Willie. And eventually we draft Kawhi Leonard like 20-some years later. And Kawhi plays every single game, which is the most unrealistic thing you could find. He plays every game of every season. Ain't no load management in my franchise, Steve Willie. And we've won 3 championships as the San Diego Clippers. The only thing I hate about it is you can't update the uniforms to like a modern Clippers logo because it's stuck on what San Diego had. So we're playing in like 1980s uniforms with the short shorts. Everybody else around us has upgraded their uniforms. And it's just like, we are who we are, Steve. We're the San Diego Clippers. It's what we do.
Those short shorts, they're making a comeback amongst the kids.
Like, you haven't seen short shorts till you've seen them on Calvin Nat in my backcourt. No. And who's my other? Oh, we got who was the player? We got, okay, so the first move I made was I traded a second round pick and somebody else to get Norm Nixon. So Norm Nixon was my point guard when I started in San Diego. Then there was Calvin Nat, and then we got Bill Walton to come back to San Diego, Steve Willie. And Bill Walton never got injured because I didn't let him get injured. I was like, no, Bill Walton, even when you get injured, I'm going to reset the game. And Bill Walton dominated. He never went to Boston, Steve Willie. Bill Walton lived a San Diego Clipper, and he died a San Diego Clipper, even though he's still alive in my franchise. But that's giving me that's a little hobby I have. I think the other hobby I have is I've gotten into watching like random ass YouTube channels lately.
Yeah.
Where they're like, this is the real story of how X-Men 97 came to be. And I'm like, okay, I'll watch this for 15 minutes. Or here's some things about Madden football that EA Sports doesn't want you to know. Or here's something about the world of professional wrestling that nobody talks about. And so I have to be careful though, Steve, because sometimes when you click on links like that, it leads you down the rabbit hole to where you're indoctrinated into something you don't need to be indoctrinated in.
Yep.
But
points of view.
Yes, certain points of view. But for the most part, they're just random ass nerds talking about. Actually, if you looked at Justice League Unlimited season 3, episode 4, when Batman said this, he was actually referring to this edition of the comic books. And it's just a fun way for my brain to stay active, Steve, without actually doing anything like work. So that's my hobbies as much as they can be hobbies, Ray William. You asked the damn question. What's the answer?
All right. Well, for me, besides rooting for these Commanders, get on the bandwagon while it's still hot, folks.
Before next week.
Stop it. We going to the chip. I don't mind that Falcons fan over there. He's still steaming over our overtime victory over them. But yes,
you should thank us for helping you get to the playoffs, right?
I appreciate it. I wasn't going to tease you about that because it's like you were a part of the process. So
exactly.
Thank you for your sacrifice, Atlanta. But I think I'm going to go in kind of like the same vein as you, Nate. I really like right now. I've kind of been getting into that YouTube rabbit hole. Well, not a rabbit hole per se, but just like certain types of videos. For me, I've always, ever since seeing the television show Man v Food with Adam Richman on the TLC channel, or the travel channel, just something about competitive eating or about like food challenges has always been interesting. I think I've only tried.
Ray, are you saying you ready to challenge Joey Chestnut on these streets?
Oh no, not at all. You can keep that. That's why I watch it and not be a part of it. Like
the new king of the Glissies, Ray Williams. Ray is like, that nickname cannot stick. No?
I prefer Caitlin Dark over King of the Glissies.
But yeah, that's another thing too, real quick, Ray. Shout out to Unrivaled. I watched a couple of those games. I don't know if you caught any, Steve, over the weekend. The new professional women's league.
Oh yeah.
Unrivaled is pretty fun. And here's the thing: not as many people are watching it as watched the last WNBA season. But in some kind of way, Steve, that's actually a good thing, because you have the people that are actually here for these women and here for the game, and less of the noise that came associated with one player through no fault of that player. But you get all of the goodness of the game without any of the noise and the racial epithets. Yes.
No.
And let me tell you how good Unrivaled is, Ray. It's helped me in my feud with Marina Mabry that she didn't know we was having.
Oh, here we go.
I finally forgiven Marina for leaving
the sky. Yeah,
yes, because her and Angel posted a video on TikTok the other day during one of the pre-games, and Angel Reese was like, Marina, so people want to know, did you leave the sky because of me? And she's like, no, I love you. And then they had a little moment, and Marina tried to twerk, which she couldn't do. But I was like, you know what? You're not so bad, Marina Mabry. I welcome you back.
Yeah, I didn't realize she had like two of her sisters, and they all play for
Notre Dame,
for the same university in Notre Dame. So that was pretty cool.
And they all look almost exactly alike. Like there's slight differences, but they almost look exactly alike.
Mm-hmm. But I'm glad you've resolved the feud between yourself and Marina Mabry.
We didn't need to bring that into 2025.
Yeah. Hopefully we could get a similar resolution between you and the country of France.
I mean, the way the Hawks are playing, I'm not mad at this man Zachary Richarche anymore. If they can keep winning, I might be a little bit more gracious to the French.
You heard it here first. But yeah, as far as like, I think I only tried like one food challenge in my life, and that was like a spicy wing challenge, and like I never again. But just seeing. It's just something fascinating to me about seeing people try like food challenges, and also seeing like food reviewers. I think I checked out Keith Lee a little bit. I know of him a little bit, but then there are other ones. It's just like something about his personality. He's a cool dude, but I like people who are like really energetic when they're involved in food and stuff. So it's two people. If you're interested in food reviews on YouTube, I recommend two people who I think within the last year have came across to me as like just great affable people and just good reviewers, and that would be King Schratz, SCHRATZ, King Schratz on YouTube, and Luke Foods on YouTube. both for two different reasons. Like King Shreds, he's like a former collegiate athlete. Actually used to play, I think, for University of Northern Iowa's football team and was a captain, but then got into like fitness, but then started doing food reviews for different like fast food chains and then different like mom and pop restaurants in New Jersey. And I think he streams as well, but just a cool down to earth dude. It seems like he's just having a conversation with you, and after he reviews the food, he always brings up at least like one topic from like general, like within the world, and he's just sharing his thoughts on that. So I really like watching his stuff on YouTube. And then Luke Foods, for a completely different reason. Luke Foods is like, he's energetic, but he's like awkward in a good way. And it's like he's like silly, and he's like just himself. And so I like seeing that from just both of them just being themselves, no matter how like diametrically opposed their personalities are. They're like both two good dudes. So if you're into watching food reviews and you want to go over, I know TikTok came back, and you guys watching those TikTok reviewers on there, but yeah.
Thank you, 45, 47.
Yeah, but yeah, check those guys out.
How you start on day one? I know we wasn't trying to get too political, Steve. How you start on day one with the lies, man? How you start the fire and then put out the fire and be like, hey, I put out the fire. No, you started the fire, sir.
You started the fire.
Not even
Billy
on day
Joel,
one.
it was you.
On day zero, like it was yesterday. Like, and they were talking about something. He was supposed to. I think they're like, President Trump is going to work tirelessly once he becomes in the office. But then, like the day that the ban was supposed to happen, the ban is off, and that's the day before he gets into office. And they're saying President Trump helped us out. It's like, it can't be. He didn't get in yet. How did he help you out already? So yeah,
it's gonna be a fun 4 years, kids.
Indeed.
I was talking to my daughter about that this morning, and she said that pretty much universally, no matter where you lie in the political spectrum on TikTok, like every single person sees through that. I was, kind of good to see that the plan isn't working.
Good. I don't have my truth telling man powers yet, Steve. Maybe someday. Steve Willie, what question do you have to bring to the table?
I made the mistake of looking at CNN before we went on and saw what was, going to be going on with day one. And so I wanted to I stopped, first of all. I wanted to bring something that was just fun and easy.
Okay.
So what I wrote down was, for this year, what mindless entertainment will you consume this year? Either an old standby, something that, like for Britney, a warm, cozy pair of fuzzy socks, or something brand new that you've never watched or consumed before, read, listen to, just completely mindless, basic entertainment.
Okay, Britney, go for it.
It was actually a really great question, because I just started a couple of days ago watching Ugly Betty. I've never seen it before.
Oh, so good.
So I'm kind of like also in general trying to watch more female-centered shows that I didn't watch either because they aired when like I was either too young, like I just watched Sex and the City last year for the first time to watch them, or I was just very much into not watching certain things at a point. So Ugly Betty was one that I was old enough to watch it, but just never got into it. So watching Ugly Betty, and then after Ugly Betty, I plan to watch Girlfriends because my parents were like, you can't watch that when it was airing. So those are my two shows lined up. Those are my two shows lined up for me, and then obviously I'm still kind of finishing Buffy, but I'm dragging it out because I'm like, I don't want it to end. So yeah, that's what I'm kind of mindlessly, not so mindlessly consuming right now.
I like that, Brittany, even though we do have to fight Joss Whedon after the show.
Yes, we do, guys.
We're going to take a second before I answer Ray and just, Britney mentioned Girlfriend's an amazing show. Surprisingly, produced by Kelsey Grammer.
Yeah.
But I also want to take a moment to pause for the cause and just Tracy Ellis Ross. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you
for your service to the country, to the world. Tracy Ellis Ross. And with that, you know what? We should get is it Sephora, her hair care company? I don't even have hair to care for right now, Steve Willie.
Yes.
Pattern. Yes, I will be a pattern. We will be corporate shills for Pattern. If Tracy Ellis Ross is listening, ma'am, we will do your bidding and spread
their hair gel is really great, by the way. I will say that. I
hear good things about it. I don't have any need for it, but I hear good things about it. Mindless entertainment, Steve Willie. Just fun, light, simple, fluffy entertainment. I think for me, we're going back to the world of pro wrestling, and Ray Williams knows where I'm going. The number one company, in my opinion, of pro wrestling last year. We talking about WOW, Women of Wrestling, Steve Willie. They give you 1 hour, not even a full hour. It's like 45 minutes plus commercials. 3 matches, 3 storylines, interesting characters. Like right now, Ray, they got a beef between the tag team champions, Jesse Jones and Big Rig Betty. They taking on Animal Instinct, Goldie Collins, and Katarina Jinx. It's like a literal cat lady, Britney Monae. Like she is not a woman portraying a cat. Like she's not Catwoman. Like she's not Michelle Pfeiffer, Halle Berry. She's a woman that thinks she's a cat.
Hold on. I gotta show you something because this goes. Let me turn off my camera real quick for a second.
It's Katarina Jinx in the house with us right now. And Goldie Collins, a dog lady. They a tag team going for the title.
Is this showing up? Cat lady. Oh, damn it. It's blurry. There we go. Cat lady.
Oh, Monster High.
Yes, her name is Catty Noor.
Probably Katarina Jinx would be a fan of hers.
Got the ears, and she has a piercing on her ear. Cat ladies are real.
Cat ladies are real. But yeah, Wild Women of Wrestling, man. It's a fun show. It's like from a real world standpoint, Steve. What I love about WOW is that it presents these women wrestlers in a way where they're like fun and they got personality and they're good wrestlers, most of them, and like they're attractive, but there is not the sexualization that we often see with women in these industries, and they're like, it's just fun and breezy, and it's nothing consequential. It's junk food. It's good when you're eating it, and then 2 days later, I don't remember that waffle I had from IHOP, Ray Williams. That was the closest thing I could think of. I don't remember that waffle from IHOP the other day, but it was good that day, and that's what WOW Women Wrestling is. So WOW is my easy breezy, fun junk food thing that's gonna take me through this year. Ray Williams, what say you?
Well, other than Nate turning me on to Wild Wrestling, I'll probably keep a watchful eye out for that, as well as you all.
She's a literal cat lady, Ray. A literal cat lady, man. like somebody threw water on her the other day, Ray, and she didn't just react like if you throw water on me, I'm like, hey man, what the hell? She didn't react like that, Ray. They threw water on her, and Steve Willie, this woman was like, that's how the woman reacted when she got hit with the water, because she believes she's a literal cat, Ray Williams. Wow, it's levels to this, Ray.
Levels to it. I can't wait to see what happens. But as well as getting back with you guys' recommendation of Mystery Men. I have seen it. It's been a while, so probably it'll be a good rewatch and turn my brain off. But other than that, I think Nate knows that I've been kind of getting back into gaming as well. I'm like you, Steve. It's hard to find time, especially with the day job sometimes, and then coming home. But trying to get back into a bit of gaming and doing a bit of streaming as well. And But most of the games that I've been picking has been actually like working my brain. Like I've been doing Dr. Mario, it's just like going back with retro gaming and working my brain with that. But one thing that I did get back into that it's kind of mindless is playing. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the game Fall Guys, but I've been playing that, getting back into that, and that's been just like fun entertainment, turn my brain off. And it's like I tell myself, all right, after this round I'm gonna stop. Then I keep going, I get a couple levels, and I'm like, all right, I gotta keep going at least one more time. And so that's been my entertainment. For those who are not aware of the concept, so Fall Guys is kind of based like a TV game show, and it's kind of like a knockout type. Well, at least the mode that I play is more like knockout, so it's kind of similar in that vein to Fortnite, where it's like 32 players, but instead of like us shooting each other and building stuff, it's like we're going through different obstacle courses and different levels of a game show. And after 4 levels of the game show, like the 4th level is a championship level, and you got to get the crown at the end. And if you get the crown, then that just adds more points for you to continue on to more of the quote episodes. That's what they call them. Like each round of playing is called an episode, and then they have 4 rounds within it. So it's been really fun, and it's like little cute. It's beans. They call them beans, and then they just put like little costumes around the beans, and the beans just move around. It's like little cutesy. Like it's nothing like it's not like Last of Us where it's like detailed, like you could see like their face structure. It's just little cutesy beans running around trying to get past the slime, and then trying to get over like little blocks and stuff. Or it's like a round where you just gotta survive. Maybe like you're standing on a platform and there are things collapsing through the platform, and you gotta survive, and it's a certain amount of people or a certain amount of beings that get eliminated or just falling through the floor of the platform. So it's pretty fun. So that's my mindless entertainment that I want to focus more on is Fall Guys.
Okay. Steve Willie, you asked the damn question. What's your answer?
The thing that I'm actually looking forward to, that it kind of came too late for me to watch when it first came out, the way my kid's age was, but it's having I wouldn't say it's a reboot, it's a continuation that I'm looking forward to on Disney is Phineas and Ferb. My son went through a phase where he was into it a ton, and I kind of would see it in the background. And last summer he and I had a baseball tournament. Well, I didn't. I just sit there and do nothing. But he did, and we were overnight there, and he was just kind of feeling exhausted. So we put it on, and an hour and a half went by. And I was just so compelled by this show. I could not stop watching it. It is hilarious. It is just very quick-witted. Have you guys seen it all?
Yes, the music
Come on,
is
Steve Willie.
great.
Yeah,
Bowling
you already
Pursuit did
know.
the music.
Yeah. And there's
Shout out to Perry the Platypus on these streets.
Oh yeah, it's so good. And they announced a new season that's coming out at some point this year. Same voice actors, same creators, same writers, everything. I think there's one voice actor who, and I don't remember that. There's like a legit reason why they're not doing it. I don't know if it was like illness or something. But I'm gonna go from the beginning and hopefully with my kid. But he's turning 14 next week, so you know how that goes. It's a thing I hope will bring us back together. We get along good. We just don't do anything together anymore. But yeah, Phineas and Ferb. I've been wanting to re-up my Disney subscription because we use a neighbor kid, but he's only 16, and mom and dad don't let him have the Daredevil and the Luke Cage on there. Yeah. So it's the kid's 16 years old. Like, come on, man. So yeah, I'm re-upping it for to watch Born Again and to watch Phineas and Ferb when it hasn't been announced exactly when it is. So I'm like, come on.
Speaking of Daredevil Born Again, Brittany, I'm going to try to keep things cordial because you know what you did. You know how deeply you hurt me.
Yes.
Brittany and I, look, here's the thing, Steve Willie. Again, this is a truthful podcast. Me and Brittany, we made a plan together, the two of us, Steve. Like, hey, the next time Marvel drop a trailer, you and me, we going to react to it live because we trying to get in this reaction game, Ray Williams. That's also some of my favorite things to watch, Steve, is just people reacting to trailers because it's something quick and you can watch like 5 of them in a half hour and you're good. And so we missed out on the last Captain America trailer and the Thunderbolts trailers. We're like, okay, whatever the next one is, we got it. We here, we locked in. Why did I get a message at work the other day, Steve Willie, from my dear friend and the colleague Britney Monae was like, OMG, dude, have you seen the Daredevil trailer yet?
Oh no.
I was like, no, I haven't. Have you? like, I'm sorry, it was so good. I'm like, it was a good trailer though. And I was like, oh, Brittany.
Yeah, see these morning shifts. I don't got stuff to do.
What had happened was,
I was on my lunch and I did not bring my book with me, and I was tired of doing Duolingo. So I was like, oh, look at this. Vincent D'Onofrio tweeted this. I should watch this. I watched it and I'm like, oh my God, this is so great. And then I was like, oh my God, I gotta text Nate. And yeah.
It is a good trailer though.
Yes.
Be that as it may, what's your question, Brittany Monae?
So my question is, are you guys on to the blind box trend? If you guys know what that is.
What are you talking about? Why are you making stuff up?
All of us.
I'm not trolling you guys. It's the thing.
That's your answer right there. What is it?
Well, I guess I will be answering my own question at this time. So, blind boxes, they have different things where you can get them, and they have different ones. So I have yes. So like I have like the little tiny itty bitty Funkos where you don't know what you're getting. Like this one is War Machine. It's Forky. I have a Bratz one where they're like different brats, little brats. And then I just got this other one at Target the other day where I built a little flower pot and it comes with a little butterfly and it's so cute. I love blind box items. I am in love. So I don't know if you guys are like following that trend. You can buy them at Target or some of your comic book stores might have them.
Yeah, I've seen them.
I love that pause.
Yeah. No, I've seen them around, and I saw the Funko ones at Target just the other day, and they had like some Disney ones, and they were mixed. And I had like one that had Chip, but it didn't have Dale. And I'm like, how can you not have Chip and Dale in the same one?
Right.
Now, is the blind one, is that going to be Dale, or am I going to be like, how can you not have the two together? We've done like mystery boxes in the past at home. Like my daughter gets a subscription to I think it's called Ipsy. It's like a makeup one.
Oh, yeah, I do Ipsy.
Yeah, they're like that's cool, and there's like different levels to it too. You know, you can like she gets like the smaller one, and then when she was little, she did one Pusheen. So we've done those, and that was fun because you never know what you're gonna get.
My nieces were into Pusheen for a minute.
Yeah, that was pretty fun. But I've seen the blind boxing, and they do with all sorts of like comic books, like here, like figures and stuff like that. I always get nervous that I'm going to get screwed over. But it's like I'm in sports cards a little bit. It's something I picked up in the last year or two. It's a terrible hobby to get into. Like it is, like we're here in the Parley. Like we're just talking, there's like a little gambling theme there. That the dopamine that you get from opening a pack. And then there's people, that's one of my guilty pleasures I've been doing. I'm watching like guys called Pac-Man, Packman, and he does like reviews of cards and stuff like that. And it's almost ASMR-y because he's like kind of a chill dude. But man, that's basically a blind box, and there's like $10,000 boxes where you get like 10 cards.
Wow.
So, yeah.
I have a friend at work. Technically, he's like a colleague at work because we ain't really friends, Steve.
I hear you.
He's not listening. But he's like got a Pokemon. He plays like I don't know if he does play Pokemon Go, but there's another Pokemon game that he plays like on break and stuff where he regularly, like I sit there and watch this dude regularly drop like $20-$50 at a time on these Pokemon cards. And I'm like, how much do you spend on these Pokemon cards a month? He's like, yeah, maybe $500. I'm like, but the cards, they're not real. Like they're on your phone, but they're not real. He's like, you just don't get it, man. You just don't get it. Like I do not. But here's the thing: we all spend money on stupid stuff. It just depends on what your stupid thing of choice is. And that brings me to my question.
Wait, Ray didn't answer.
Right.
Ray don't know nothing about no damn blind boxes.
now that she, well, I do. Now that she explained it, I was like,
broke it down to us.
Yeah. So when I actually, and it was prior to the pandemic, actually, in around 2018, 2019, I used to work in GameStop.
Okay.
And so the only like blind boxes that I was really interested in, no surprise, it came with like picking out packages to see like which tiny like mini figurine of a old school console you would get. And so it was a couple of them, and I don't know if you guys caught me bringing my bin in, but actually I have a couple. So these are both like Game Boy. Oh, how far away? And don't mind me if the giant row of lanyards that I have, but it was hard for me to take this off. But it's like, this is a Game Boy, regular Game Boy, and then it got a Game Boy Color.
Okay.
But I couldn't find one with just like the old school NES. So I think at a convention, this guy was 3D printing stuff. And that's the big thing is, like, I don't like doing those blind boxes because you don't know what you get. See, I don't get that endorphin rush by gambling, Brother Steve. I'm just like, I want to know exactly what I'm paying for.
Yeah.
And so I went up and I got like this NES style like keychain. And if you couldn't tell, I'm a big fan of lanyards, and I share a love for socks, like themed socks as well. Britney,
I have themed socks. I got a lot. It's crazy. I spent Nate knows this is how he knows about my socks obsession. There is a store in Palm Springs where they have socks with crazy different designs, and I had like text our group chat at the time when we were doing the Black Lightning podcast. I'm like, hey guys, I just went to Palm Springs and spent like $100 at the sock store.
Nice.
And I bought like, I want to say like 15 pairs of socks, and like they're like cat ones, dog ones. I got a Sailor Moon one, and I got like a Star Wars one, and I think a Harry Potter one too. One before we hated J. Rowling. And yeah, so I love socks. I love collecting socks.
And then one more, I think, blind box thing was, I guess with the Mario Kart characters, they had like a blind box thing. And so I ended up getting this one of Bowser.
Okay.
Yeah.
Saying his real government name. He's not King Koopa. That's Bowser, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, as a kid, I used to get so like, I'm like, who are you calling Bowser? That's King Koopa right there. What you talking about, Bowser? But now I've just gotten used to calling him Bowser. It's assimilated.
I think the only blind box thing I was even tempted to do, Steve, was, you see those ads, particularly on IG, where they're like, "Hey guys, do you want a tailor-made wardrobe, like a bespoke wardrobe, and like every month subscribe to da 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 da, and we'll send you your wardrobe." And I'm like, that would be cool to walk around looking like a fancy Andre 3000 all day, Steve. but when do I have the time to walk around looking like Andre 3000? I only get 2 days off a week. I'm not gonna spend one of those days spending 3 hours getting into this Andre 3000 British outfit to go nowhere. Ray Williams can't go to Food Line dressed like Andre 3000.
Oh, you can only...
unless you're Andre 3000.
Oh, unless like you do Steve Willie does, go to like conventions and cosplay and get yourself a flute.
I don't cosplay.
Get yourself a flute. You cosplay as Andre 3000.
Oh, I'm glad you brought this back around to music, Ray Williams, because my question involves music. And again, we living in sensitive times. We're living in uncertain times. Steve Willie might say we're living in the darkest timeline, part 2, Electric Boogaloo. I know, bring me out, Ray, because I want to see everybody's face when I ask this question. And I preface this question with, Steve, you know that I love you and you know the spirit in which this question will be asked. And this question kind of doesn't apply to Steve, but I'll make it apply to Steve. Because my question is, this was sparked by something that happened at work the other day. My question is, Ray, Britney, and yes, Steve Willie, what is your favorite white people song? Now, let me elaborate what I mean when I say that, okay? Because music is for everybody. Music is universal. It doesn't matter who creates the music. If the music touches you, if the music moves you, it's for you. But what I mean is, we know, Steve. We know there are certain concerts that if I show up front row at the Carrie Underwood concert, I might get some looks, Steve. No matter how much I may love Carrie Underwood's music. If you show up front row at the Killer Mike concert, Steve Willie, you might get some looks, even though you might be the biggest Killer Mike fan in the world today. So the question is not so much what's your favorite white people song, even though that is kind of the question. It's what is your favorite song that people would not associate with you based on first looks? Steve Willie, since you are the white person in question in this question, what's your favorite song?
My favorite white person song?
Or a song that people wouldn't associate, because you get the inverse on this. What's like your the favorite song that you blast that people would be like, he listens to that?
Oh God. I like, this is perfect. Like, you can't see him up here. I am an unabashed, unironic. I completely love the Spice Girls. Like, wow. I would go to a Spice Girl, like they're like, it's not like I have deep affection for the lyrics or anything like that, but you can put any Spice Girls song on and it's just totally uplifting.
I mean,
I'll probably never be asked on anything to do with Nefarious Media ever again.
You don't know, Steve, because tonight is the night when two become one, Steve.
Yes, it is.
I'm not even gonna lie. The Spice Girls song that every time, Ray, if they play it right now, I'm gonna be like, that's my song. What is it? Stop Right Now. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
That's a good song, Ray Williams. I even like when they tried to come back and like get urban with Dark Child on that one, like the Spice Girls album after Victoria Beckham left, and she was like, I got a husband who makes trillions of dollars for playing a ball game. I don't need y'all ladies anymore. And they tried to come back like for the streets. I think the song was called like Holler with Rodney Jerkins, aka Dark Child. And it's like, this is wild. This shouldn't work, but it kind of works for me. So shout out to the Spice Girls, who I guess got back and now they're not together anymore, but they were together for like a year or two. I don't know. I'm not a Spice Girls expert. Shout out. Britney Monae, what is your favorite white people song people would be surprised to learn that you love?
I don't know, because I don't know what first impression I give off people if I'm not like I'll right away like, oh my God, I like, you know, like, I mean, I have a Fall Out Boy tattoo that I like, that's Fall Out Boy tattoo. So I don't know what like people who don't know me, I don't know what's the song that they would think I wouldn't listen to. That's hard. But maybe people would probably be very surprised that I absolutely enjoy Mozart and Beethoven, especially if you put on Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata in the first movement. Baby, that is my jam. Love that.
Okay.
All right, Mozart.
That's I did not expect that. That is
I got Marriage of Figaro. I love Marriage of Figaro. That goes off.
I'm not gonna lie, Ray. The song in my mind, just knowing Britney Monae and who she is, the song that would utterly shock me if Britney pulled up one day and was listening to this song in the car radio. Petey Pablo, Raise Up. Take your shirt off, spin it round the head like a helicopter. North Carolina.
I know that song.
What? This one for you. This one's for who? Us. Who am I? Petey Pablo. Petey Pablo, wherever you are, I hope you're having a good day. Unless you committed crimes, and then I hope you have the day you deserve. You can't be too careful these days, Ray. Everybody is either crazy or switching sides or assaulting people. One of the three.
Yeah.
If you're a celebrity. Ray Williams, what song? Quote unquote white people song, even though that's not where, again, people, we having fun with this. Ray Williams, what song would people not associate with Two-Way Ray?
All right. Well, honorable mention. There may be two Swifties here on the podcast. So I'll leave them anonymous. One may or may not be myself. I do not confirm nor deny. But I think two songs that immediately came to mind was Michelle Branch, Everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
And Celine Dion, It's All Coming Back to Me Now.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah. Because I don't know if you guys are familiar, but I do, like, there's this karaoke app that I used to love singing on. And so those used to be my jams.
Is it Hill Sonic?
Mm-hmm.
Is it Hill Sonic?
Hill Sonic. Oh no, not. No, I do Smule Sing.
Smule, yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
Mm-hmm.
That's the Schmoyo guys, right?
I think so.
Is that Lincoln Red or whoever?
Check it out.
Okay, Ray Williams, Celine Dion fan. So
yeah.
So let me give you the backstory, Steve, and maybe my question will make more sense now. Because I was at work the other day, and in the garage, like, the master mechanic is in charge of the stereo, and so, like, he's got a wild eclectic taste. And so some days it'll be like gangster rap, some days it'll be country, some days it'll be pop, a lot of times it's like 80s and 90s songs. On this day, he happened to play, and you could bring me out, Ray, because I want to see people's reactions when I bring this track up. He plays the old song. Like we're not just talking white people music here, Steve. We talking old school. Old. We talking like segregation school white people music, Steve, Willie. On the radio, in the shop, it was that song At the Hop. You remember that song At the Hop?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
As soon as it came on, I'm like, At the Hop. I'm like, don't nobody want to hear this, man. Not 30 seconds later, Ray. Not 30 seconds later, I tried to fight it, Ray. I'm walking, taking parts and stuff to the shop, and just like, let's go to the hop. Oh. What white magic have you worked on me, dead singers? Because I'm sure they all dead. Like, this song was made in the 50s. And it's like that era of music, like, there's something about it, Steve. Like, I know it's laced with racism. I know it's laced with prejudice. But the melodies, man, the harmonies. Because here's the thing that gets me every time on songs like this. Like, you got your guys, they doing the harmony. Then you got that one killer. Every team got to have a killer, Ray. Every team got to have somebody that's willing to take that last shot. This dude sit in the back for the whole song. Don't say a word. Don't say a peep on the microphone. When they finish the song, he comes over the top. He come off the top rope with the Randy Savage elbow, Steve, with the like you killed it, my boy. Like Eugene on the track. So that's a long way.
The 50s and 60s, that used to always be like the killer
man. Like that was his own job for the song. Yes, and he just stay there and look at you while he's doing the ooh. Like that was his only job for the whole. It's 5 microphones. He stepped back the whole time, just doing the choreography at the end of the song. Like, Eugene, you killed that, my boy. I don't know why this man's name is Eugene, but it sounds like old. Clarence, it can't be Clarence. That's a little too ethnic for that time. Can't be Clarence. Sorry, Clarence. Clarence got to be in his own group on the side. Clarence is working the chitlin circuit. It's sad but true. But like for like a song that just gets me, Steve. Like yes, there's songs like those 50 songs that just kind of hit. And a lot of this comes from riding in the car with my mom's. Like she would listen to the oldie stations, so there's a lot of Elvis. There's a lot of random ass story songs, like The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. He was the bravest man of all. Like, why are we listening to this country western ballad on the way to school, mama? Like, ain't nothing like. Can we listen to New Edition? Can we listen to Velvet DeVoe or something? Like, nah, we listen to The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance because he was the bravest man of all. But I'm gonna tell you, this is a recent song, Steve, that every time it comes on, I don't know nothing about this man's life. I don't know what he's been through, Steve, but I can feel the emotion through the song. I have never listened to, I don't think I've ever listened to any One Direction music. But this man, Harry Styles, last year he came. Harry Styles came. I don't know nothing about this man, Harry Styles, but he made a song last year called "As It Was."
Mm-hmm.
And it's a beautiful. I don't know what he did to the woman. I don't know what the woman did to him, Ray. I don't know if he's on that list with Robert Kelly. But that song, that's every time that song comes on the radio, Ray, I'm tapping my feet. I'm like, you know what? It's not the same as it was. I feel you on that, Harry. Things just keep changing, Harry. Can't we go back to the ooh man? Not that far back. We talked about that on the time travel episode. But yeah, like that. I think that's kind of the crazy thing about it, man. Music is just so universal. Like I say, Steve, songs are for everybody. Well, most songs, that Roseanne Barr rap song that she's got out now is not for anybody. What? You haven't heard, Steve?
No,
okay.
And I don't want to.
Well, you're gonna hear it, Steve. You open yourself up to this, Steve Willie. Roseanne Barr. Roseanne Barr, yes, that Roseanne Barr has a pro-Trump rap song out now celebrating the victory of 45-47.
No.
With a Canadian rapper talking about we won. Like, we? Who? What? Yes. And it's as bad as you would think it is, not just in execution, but also like there's several slurs that she just raps on the track. And it's like, why are we doing this?
Why am I looking this up?
No.
Oh no, Steve.
No, okay, I'll stop. Thank you.
Don't do it. And I think she's got braids in the video too. Like just appropriation on top of racism, sexism, homophobia. Like Roseanne, just go away, Roseanne.
It might be.
She did go away for many years.
She came back.
Yep. It might be a better
somebody
looking up on the hop, I guess.
At the hop. In my mind, like again, I don't know none of these people. They probably dead and gone, Ray Williams. In my mind, the ooh man was like the one that was trying to let black people into the show. He was trying to reach across the aisle. Like when they go to the diner, he's like, "Hey man, come on in, Clarence. I know we kicked you out the group for reasons, but you can come on in." And they try to kick Clarence out because it was those times, Ray Williams. They send the cops in with the dogs and everything, and my boy steps up. Eugene is like, And that is the greatest superpower of all, ladies and gentlemen. Being there for your fellow man, being there for your neighbor, being there for your community, and being there for these damn ducks on the pond, Ray. Cut the music. That was amazing how that just all came together.
I know.
It's amazing or terrible.
I do want to say that there's actually nothing wrong with Harry Styles. I just think that the one who should have been most popular from One Direction is Zayn, and that's all. That's why I was like,
boys. I don't know none of them boys.
Of course.
Like, was Harry Styles the Bobby Brown of One Direction? Like, was he the bad boy?
Oh no, that's the one who.
Oh yeah.
I remember when
Liam, I think.
I mean, like some people would have probably said Zayn because he was like, but like a player, kind of. I don't know, but it was definitely him. That boy, he was bad, beating people up and chasing people around with axes. Like Liam was bad.
Wow.
And it was crazy
because One Direction boys.
But no, Zayn to me was a better singer. Kind of like, in NSYNC, JC Chazé was a better singer and probably deserved to have a better career. But
He
for whatever
ain't had a
reason,
juice like JT.
I agree
for whatever
wholeheartedly.
reason, it's like, Justin Timberlake, Harry Styles. Like, yeah. So that's why I think Harry Styles is probably a decent human being. I'm just like,
I don't even know this man here. I don't even know if this is real child that start off the record like, come on, Harry, read me a story. I don't know if that's his kid, somebody else's kid, Justin Timberlake's kid. But every time that little kid come on the track, I'm like, oh, this about to be hot right here.
I don't know.
Harry
My
Styles
dad
about to
also
tell us about
likes
his
Harry
life.
Styles, so
Isn't he supposed to be in like one of the Marvel movies? Wasn't that a rumor?
yeah, he's supposed to be Star Fox.
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that.
He's in the after credits in Eternals.
Oh, that's why I don't remember.
That's all right.
Star Fox, which I think Star Fox should have been cast by a different actor.
I think all of the after credits in the Eternals don't matter anymore because Mahershala ain't coming back as Blade. We ain't never getting this damn Star Fox movie. I hope it's based on the N64 game. If it does get made, but yeah, Eternals might be. We gonna see your boy back because like I think he's the only Eternal that's like affordable and still wants to play. Kumail Nanjiani. Like Kumail and maybe my boy to play Fausto. Everybody else is like, nah, man, we're not coming back. But you know who is coming back, Ray Williams?
Who's that?
Nefarious Media next week, Monday. You get the all-new episode of Styles Break Fights, the newly rechristened SBF podcast with special guest, somebody Britney Monae is very familiar with, the architect himself, John Pollock from Post Wrestling, sitting down with Ray and Chi-Chi. I'm very excited to listen to that. Very, very happy and proud for you, Ray. That's a big get, and I'm glad y'all was able to spend time today talking with John. So keep your eyes and ears peeled for that, audience members. But until then, we've got to go because Brittany, Steve, Ray, and I all have reservations for the big inauguration party tonight, fellas. It's going to be fun, y'all. Look at Brittany's face. Steve Willie, my friend, I've missed you so much. I'm glad we had some time to chop it up this week. Let people know where they can find you. Probably here because ain't nobody found you in like 6 months, my guy. But what's going on with you? Where can people find you? Tell them about your Instagram where you used to post pictures of Chicago pizza, sir.
Yeah, I gotta start upgrading that, like updating that more. It was one of the things that kind of get away from. I've actually been doing a lot of like fun stuff with the family lately. Got a lot of basketball games I've been going to. At Steve Willie 1. That's the number right there. You can find me on Facebook too. I'm scrolling it too lately, which is a terrible, terrible habit to get into. I might have to check out this Blue Sky thing everybody's been talking about.
It's not bad.
I need some hot takes. I need to give some hot takes. You can also, like I'm planning on being here in the Nefarious Media Network, and I'm going to be doing some stuff with Place to Be Nation again soon. I've been getting reached out to a lot, and I've just been turning people down, and I hate doing that because I like to make everybody happy. It's a blessing and a curse to have that in my brain. But the shoot job is hard. Being a parent is hard. And just getting older is hard, man. I'm tired.
So soon you'll have those flash powers, Steve Willie. Soon.
Yeah. I even had Chicago pizza at my for the holidays, and I didn't know I was down by my grandma, 99 years old.
Oh wow. Yeah, Steve Willie is nothing if not a pizza connoisseur, and his Instagram used to be filled, Britney Monae, with pictures of wonderful pizzas from all over the world, mainly Chicago, but
I had some New York, I had some New Haven.
Yes, we had some East Coast pizza, some Midwest pizza. No California pizza though. No cauliflower crust pizza.
Oh hell no.
Britney Monae.
Yes.
One of my favorite people to talk to, co-host of the Avengers Initiative, which can be found here at the Nefarious Media Network, and ardent, strident Sinbad with Shazam truther. What you got, my friend? Promote your little shindig with Keith if you want to. Hooray for you! I'm happy, whatever. But let people know where they can find you, my friend.
Yes. Besides, obviously, through Nefarious Media, you can find me on most social media platforms at Hi Britney Monae.
Hi, Britney Monae.
Hi. I do have obviously the podcast that I was talking about that I did with Keith, which should be on Hard Knock Media somewhere. It should be coming out sometime in February because he recorded my episode first before the the one Batman movie that's before Batman and Robin.
Batman Forever.
Yes, so he's doing that one with if you know her name is Dr. like Arkham, I think she says her Twitter handle. She is
is
an
it the host of the Arkham sessions?
I think so.
She's
She's
actually
like
a psychiatrist.
Yeah, she's actually a psychiatrist.
Oh, she's great.
Yes, which we did when me and Keith used to do DC TV Classics. She was on when we were talking about Batman. We were talking about Batman before with her, so she's really great. So he's.
Have you ever listened to that show, Steve?
No, I don't think so.
It's I think it's called the Arkham Sessions, and it's the host is a psychiatrist.
Her name's Andrea, I think.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Her and her husband, and they basically like kind of go back and look at either movies or TV shows and kind of break down the psychology behind Batman and some of his rogues gallery and stuff. It's pretty fascinating.
I like to turn my brain off of work as soon as I'm done with work. And
I don't want to hear anything else about anybody's brain but mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's very cool. So I know Keith is also recording with her but that episode will be out and then mine. And yeah, I think that's all I can talk about right now because other stuff I can't talk about.
NDAs.
Yeah, it's a serious NDA. But yeah, that's it for right now.
Okay, that is Britney Monae, ladies and gentlemen. One of my favorite people to talk to. And you can look out for my episode with Keith coming up on the 12th of February. You know what you did, Keith. You know what you did. Ray Williams. We did it, Ray Williams. Day one, Nefarious in the books. 2 episodes out on the same day, Ray. Who would have thought such a thing could be possible? Where can people find you, my friend, and let them know anything else that you got going on? Hype up that episode of SBF as it too, if you want.
Yes. Again, tremendous job right out the gate, Nate. Just continue to put in that hard work, brother. You're much appreciated for everything you do around here. But yeah, you can, of course, find me right here on the Nefarious Means Network. As Nate so eloquently mentioned before, the newest episode of SBF is coming out with, I guess, John Pollock, JOPO. You should know, bro. If you don't know Britney Monae, use a mofo. But
bars.
Yeah.
For what?
No, it's an inside
Ray
joke.
is referencing John.
Yeah.
John, no, I'm putting this inside joke outside. If anybody has not, and I know, look, John is going to hate me for this, but you've already done the episode with Ray and Chinyere, John. So, you know, you can be mad at me for a few weeks. John Pollock, when he was in college, did a rap video, and he filmed it like in Canada. He's like jumping over streams, and he's got like a tank top on, and he kind of looks like Canada's version of Malibu's Most Wanted. And he's out here on these streets, and he's just like, I'm the J-O-P. Oh, if you don't know, use a mofo. J-O-P. I take everything I said on this episode back. That is my favorite white people song. The J-O-P-O, which you can still find on YouTube to this day. It is amazing. It is wonderful. John Pollock will never live it down, and we love him for that.
It's an instant classic. Instant. But yeah, I wasn't calling you specifically a mofo, Britney.
I was like, what I do?
It's a part of the lyrics.
I'm like,
it's like 50. What is it me for?
Yeah, that's how I felt. Like, what?
Like just catching strays.
I know. I was like, oh, okay.
Call him Stray Williams.
But yeah, you could find that episode. Like Brother Nate said, it will be coming out next Monday because we're trying to keep that schedule of programming going on consistently. Also coming out soon should be an episode that I recorded with Bruce Lord and his co-host David for Postmarks, which would be on the Post Cafe through Post Wrestling, patreon.com/Post post wrestling, but also patreon.com/the Kings of Sport.
Talk to him, Ray.
$250 right
for
now.
the month of January, $2.50. We cut the price in half for the month of January so more people can have access to the archives where you'll find all the backlogs of all the Kings of Sports, all the Avengers initiatives, Kung Fu Island, the Kung Fu show me and Brent did reviewing Kung Fu flicks. There's an episode of all the episodes of the Luke Cage podcast from like 7 years ago are on the archive. Britney, Vanessa, Shark, and myself did a Hamilton live watch. That on the Patreon. It was chaotic. So yeah, normally it's $5 a month for over 300 hours of audio and video. Right now, for the month of January, it's just $2.50, people. And
we
then
need
it goes
to do a
back
live
up.
watch again.
We do need to do a live watch. Steve, we got so many candidates for a live watch. Like I'm really here for Josie and the Pussycats, man.
Me too.
Ray, we might rewatch Remember the Titans just to make sure Ray actually watches it because he said he's watched it, but we don't have any verification of that. You could put up your camera and take a shot of a screen, Ray. That don't mean you sat through the whole movie. We're not believing in fake news anymore, Ray. Okay, we a truthful network, Ray Williams. But yeah, there's so many things that we want to do with this network, so we will in time. But yeah, like $5 is normally what gets you in. $2.50 right now until February 1st. Then February the price goes back up because you know why.
But yeah, and as for me personally, you can find me on Instagram and on Twitter /X at MondoDondo1 and on Blue Sky at Two-Way Ray.
Yes, as for me, you can find me here at Nefarious Media. On Twitter at @8 MOZAIK, on Blue Sky Nate Mosaic 757. Nefarious is also on Blue Sky. We're continually updating stuff this week and next week, so you're going to see the gradual change. So right now, like if you go to Spotify, it's still the Kings of Sport, but there's a Nefarious banner there, even though it says Kings of Sport, and that stuff will start to settle out in the next couple of weeks. But this is really fun. We're really excited. No matter what happens these next 4 years with your man Ray, 45, 47. Again, no matter what happens, we gonna get that over, Ray. I promise you, Ray. If we do nothing else with this network, we gonna get that over, Ray. You're gonna be the ooh man for a new generation. They're gonna be like, remember when Ray used to do that 45, 47 do thing? That was so cute. Right before we went into World War III. It was a wonderful memory before the last World War. But this is a wonderful memory, or at least it will be when we stop recording. Because right now we're still living in the moment, Ray Williams.
Indeed.
Of the Parley, episode 2. Again, this is one of the shows that is all over the place, has no structured format, but I enjoy it. As Ray mentioned, we'll be back next Monday. Ray and Chinyere will be back next Monday with the first episode of Styles Break Fights with John Pollock. And then the following Monday, the Kings of Sport makes its Nefarious debut with our Super Bowl preview. After that, who the hell knows? We'll let you know when we figure it out. I'm like Ray is in his superhero form. I don't know what to tell you, boss. I'll see you next time. But this was fun. Thank you to everybody that's watching live, listening live, and to everybody watching and listening in the future. If you enjoy what we're doing here at Nefarious, share the link, share the socials with your friends, because that's the way we grow this thing, grow this community, and keep the conversation moving forward, Ray, truthfully, thoughtfully, and turned up, idly. Just gonna let that sit there, Ray. You ain't got to laugh at me. But for Ray Williams, for Two-Way Ray, for Britney Monae, yes, I was buying you time to bring the music. Thank you, Ray. This is the Godfather Nate Milton. Thank y'all so much for checking out the Parley. Thank you for checking out Nefarious, and we will see you next time or whenever we see you. Good night, good fight, Ray. I stole your thing again. We'll see y'all later.